Ducks. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically, the average Ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Bonkos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, race fans, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Virtual Autosport here live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, and yes, I can't believe I say this every single time we have one of these Forza Spec Racing Series seasons, but we are in week number 3, and that means after our first race here tonight, which happens to be out at Road Atlanta, we are halfway through season 33. Can you believe it? They come and go just that quickly. And as I'd mentioned, Road Atlanta will be our first track on the docket here for today. 19 laps around the full circuit. And that'll be followed up by the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Green Hell, the Monster, the 12.93 mile track out there in Germany for race number 2 of the evening, race 6 of the season here with the Pontiac GXP Solstice, and it has been the best. And I know this is not me just hyping it up and doing the marketing PR talk, whatever you want to call it. This has been undoubtedly the best season that I've broadcast in the Forza Spec Racing Series, which is actually quite peculiar because when you think about it, we've only had one single winner all season. That's in AMS Udakan there at the top of the leaderboard with 100 points. Now, this is taking into account one of the two weeks that we've already raced being a drop week. For Udakan, his total right now is 200 points, but because we are factoring out one of those weeks, 100 is the total with Corvid and Carbon still behind him. Where it changes up is Cratrium, DTR Maverick. Fear the Fun drops down a spot to 6th with 70 points. IPR Wolf, CMD Slipstream moves over to the left-hand side. Audrex is up there to 9th position. Born as Ghost in 10th. And then wouldn't you know it, Hoot Wheels, who we talked to during one of our pre-race driver spotlight interviews, said she was looking to make her way from 18th over to, I think, at least top 13, maybe even top 10, finding herself right now entering week number 3 in 11th with 62 points, followed by AX4X Big Ben in 12th with a cool 50 points. SFM Darkser, Chaos Fox, Phantom, Salty Bonkos, then you see over there on the right-hand side, Hocus, Derek, Joe Beardy, Modern Weapon, Lamborghini R2D2, Mega Chin, Grim, and unfortunately, Slow Motion Fire, our race organizer, having a dreadful season back there in 24th position with just 19 points. What's up there, Dino Dado in the chat? SVR Brexit is here. Crimson is here saying 30-50 Pog Face. Yes, folks. Before we talk any more about the Forza Spec Racing Series, because we're going to get a good 2 hours worth of action in here this evening, before we get too much into it, let me go ahead and speak to what Crimson is alluding to, is that coming up here, starting this Friday, April 17th, Virtual Autosports will be bringing you daily content. Now, let me preface here before I get into the schedule, is that this is April 17th. We've got music. Where's this music coming from? Stand by. We don't need the music. The dramatic music is good just one time. It doesn't work when you play it twice. But anyway, April 17th, that starts a 7-week stint of 2 hours worth of content each and every day till the 23rd. Now, depending on, one, how well things go through that week, we may continue. 2, depending on what happens in our crazy world that we're currently living in, I'll be able to continue. This is really all based on the fact that I don't have to commute to and from work anymore. And so I've got extra time throughout the day, and through scheduling out the day with the wife, we said, hey, let's do this. Let's have a 7-day schedule set, and depending on how well it goes come the 23rd, then perhaps we'll move forward with a bit more. And so, starting Friday, Forza Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That is in line with the official Forza channel's Forza Friday broadcast. I'll be streaming it from my perspective. I'll be taking part in the races that they are participating in. And depending on how many people we have involved with our Forza Friday, we may culminate that event, that evening, with our own little event, our own little derby event, if you will. And for anybody who's participated in Mileage Masters Championship events here on Virtual Auto Sports or any of our 30-50 stuff in the past, you're probably familiar with some of our derby events, and we may culminate things on Forza Friday with something like that, assuming we have the amount of participation needed to make an event like that happen. Then on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, Assetto Corsa Competizione, right there in the flesh here on this broadcast. I've not broadcast anything but Forza on this channel except for maybe Car Mechanic Simulator and a couple of other games. I'll be bringing you from my view, my vantage point in my rookie season. I've only run one race out at Zolder. I've done the first career race out at Zolder, heading next to Brands Hatch. That'll be coming to you on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Then on Sunday, for those of you like Crimson who are very, very excited about the return of 3050, it is coming back. It is not going to be in a season format. Instead, of what we're doing is we're just creating an overall leaderboard to see who is the best overall for however long this thing ends up running. 3050, a track day experience. If you don't know what 3050 is, it is unlike anything you've ever done in Forza Motorsport. I guarantee it, because what you do come Sunday, you don't have a car prepped. You haven't done any tuning. You don't have any strategy. You are showing up on Sunday just as ill-prepared as anybody else. And what we're doing is we are throwing up onto the screen a game show-like board from which you choose a number, and behind that number is the block, and then behind the block with the number on it is the car that you will drive. You then have 30 minutes for tuning, testing, and qualifying. Set your quickest time ahead of a 50-mile race. It is what can you do with the car that you're given. Not all the cars are going to have the same capabilities. Some may be dogs, some may be OP, as some might say, but it's what can you do with the vehicle that you're given. It's really an exciting event. We had a whole slew of these throughout 2019, and it was a heck of a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be bringing it back. And there's a few little stipulations in there as far as selecting your car. So there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily know about if you haven't seen 3050 in action, that when you show up on Sunday, you're going to be like, what? What? People get to pick my car? They get to decide which car I'm racing? What? Yeah, it's going to be insane. Coming up here this Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That, of course, following our ACC in the morning on Saturday and our Forza Friday event this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then on Monday, a week from last night, we'll have Be a Better Forzatographer, which is kind of just a cool chill stream. We're going to head into the world of Forza Horizon 4. We're going to take some photos. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks to some realistic Forzatography for those of you who are into that kind of thing. And then, of course, we'll be back at it here a week from tonight with week number 4 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, which is going to be just as much a barn burner as this one. We're heading out to Silverstone and VIR for that one. And then Wednesday, we'll be here for Wednesday for Wildcard Wednesdays. What will I be broadcasting? You don't know. I already know, but you don't know. Show up, see what it is. It'll be something racing related. I promise you that much. And then Thursday, not this Thursday, But next Thursday night throwdown, I will have that event posted up over the weekend. If you'd like to race with us on Thursday night throwdown, they're standalone races. They're not seasons. If you just want to kind of get your own expertise up to par with maybe some of the other drivers in the community, great opportunity to do that, because basically I'll give you a car and I'll say, here are the requirements. Everybody else has the same amount of time to get their car, prep it, get ready for Thursday, and then on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll go out for some qualifying, followed by a 60-minute race, a 60-minute endurance race with some pit stops thrown into mix for a little bit of strategy. So good stuff, good stuff. I hope you're able to join us all the way through the broadcast, starting, again, this Friday on into next Friday, April 23rd. Any questions? No? Awesome. Let's get back to the Forza Spec Racing Series, and there are the standings. That's how things are looking entering tonight's action. For those of you who are unsure about what it's going to take for any of these other drivers to catch up, well, just know that with a drop week rule in effect, Udakan can effectively have a bad race here tonight, or week 4 or week 5, and have that week drop. Now have a couple of bad weeks in succession here, and that could change the picture dramatically. Yes, Udakan has 4 straight victories here in season number 33. That includes last week's races out there at Road America and the Top Gear West circuit. But tonight we're really gonna throw down a heck of a car track combination for these next 2 races of the season, because I think if you've been watching the broadcast ever since the beginning of the season, you have heard me say that I believe Road Atlanta is the best track combination for this Pontiac Solstice GXP. So what drivers are going to be able to make of it, of that car out here at Braselton, Georgia? Going to be fascinating to see. And then follow that up with the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. That's going to be awesome. Simply awesome. And let me go ahead and throw that schedule there on the screen for you so you can understand what we've got lying ahead. Because after race 5 here tonight, the Road Atlanta race, we're halfway through the season, heading into the back half with just those 3 races remaining after tonight. Silverstone, Virginia, and then 69 laps out there at Prague Short. Whew, AMS Udakan's here. Brexit is here saying ACC. He's excited about that one. Dino Dado is here. Carry out. Thank you very much for the host. Max Speeding Rods, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Sober David had a host about a week ago, but I want to get to CMD Slipstream, who I think did this after the broadcast, with a Tier 1 subscription for 2 months in a row and a message that says, I love you, Dustin. Thank you, Slipstream. Appreciate that, and good luck to you out here on the track. I'm looking over to the driver interview section of the FM4 Discord. I don't see anybody over there right yet, so perhaps we'll catch some drivers after they come out of the first race of the evening looking to the lobby. It's almost a full, complete lobby, which is a little bit disappointing. I was hoping that we'd have a full lobby here in week number 3. If you're watching and you plan on racing, get in here quick so that you can make qualifying. At the very least, if you don't make qualifying, get in there for the race, and let's get a full lobby out here at Road Atlanta. We've got AMS Udakan, LSCM Chaos Fox, Craytrim, Hoot Wheels, Carbon, Corvid, Slipstream, Foontang, Hocus, Grim, Wolf, Modern Weapon, Born as Ghost, Slow Motion Fire, Cuda, that's a new name here to the Forza Spec Racing Series, and a new driver to the series altogether. You see that orange number board there in the distance, in the background here of the UI, and then you've got DTR Maverick and Fear the Fun in the mix as well. 17 drivers of the 23 grid spots available, and Corona Vera, stay away, Corona Vera with the follow. Thank you very much, Corona. Welcome to the broadcast. Hoot Wheels with the rock fist saying, I'm so ready for this, and we hope that Hoot Wheels is in a train of thought, a mindset that is ready to excel tonight. It's been a rough go these first 2 weeks, with week 1 actually being exceptional in terms of the driving. The unfortunate nature was of a disconnect in race number 1 out at Yas Marina, followed by a little bit of aggressive driving that resulted in a spin around there at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. So can Hoot Wheels turn it around? Already has gone from the right-hand side, the far right-hand side of the leaderboard, over to 11th position. And so seeing if she can't grab a top 10 spot here by the end of the evening. This is where it really gets interesting, folks, after tonight, because then we'll start to be able to draft up that picture of which week is going to be or is most likely to be drivers drop week, knowing that they really have to do good for the next 2 weeks. And so if you can kind of like already say, hey, you know what, week 2, week 1, maybe it's tonight, week number 3, where you're like, yeah, that was a garbage week, but man, let's really turn it on for week 2 out at week 4 at Silverstone and VIR, and then Prague short for the finale. Oh man, good stuff. It's really good. This is the time of the season to be checked in, locked in, loaded. Get your drinks, get your bites to eat, whatever it is that you need to get comfortable for the racing here tonight. Get settled in, because we're about to go 3 laps of qualifying out here at Road America before it is time for 19 laps around the full circuit, all 2.54 miles of it out here at Braselton, Georgia. C500 is the Pontiac GXP Solstice. That's 265 horsepower with an equal amount of torque, 2,882 pounds of curb weight. C500, about midway of a little bit less than midway, actually. A-Class is about your midpoint in terms of performance in Forza Motorsport 7. Mega Chin is connected. Audrex, I think I saw in there. Yep, sure as can be. And Fear the Fun is there, meaning that we are just 3 drivers shy of a full lobby. And speaking of threes, Udakan there in the pit lane saying 3 for 3. He said this last week. He said 2 for 2, and then sure enough, he pulls out both the wins in week number 2 after doing the exact same thing in week 1. Can he make it 5, 6 wins straight here in week number 3 and make it a total of 3 weeks out of 3 to come away with a podium spot? Heck, not just the podium spot, but the top spot. Who knows? More importantly, the question is, can somebody take him down? Here we go, getting loaded up. 3 laps of qualifying. All the drivers will qualify simultaneously. That is to say that there's no need for us to sit here for an hour or 2 on end waiting for every driver to go around. No, instead, they'll be ghosted, allowing them to pass through each other as they encounter other cars on the track. But as you can see here, with Grimm taking off, Fear the Fun left a little bit of space between them, giving him some open air to kind of see a little bit more clearly out in front of him. Heading up to turns 2, 3, and 4, the chicane here tucked in between the tire walls. You got to be very, very careful. Then it's downhill through the S's to turn number 5, which is this left-hander that always throws me off. This track has been in Forza Motorsport for as long as the series, the franchise, has existed, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Road Atlanta was part of the initial run of Forza Motorsport, the initial title released back in 2005. If not, then at the very latest, 2007 with Forza Motorsport 2. And still, turn number 5 gets me every time. Then it's turn 6 and 7, the double right-handers, before you head uphill through this bend, which is turn number 8, up underneath the Motul Bridge, down the long straightaway, which then ends up heading downhill as you get ready for turn 10A and 10B. And for those of you who are fans of drifting, you might be very familiar with this portion of the track. As a matter of fact, you can kind of see the jut out there in the background where some of the Formula Drift events happen out here at Road Atlanta. And here comes Grimm now down with Fear the Fun back behind him. This right-hander right here, it's not a difficult corner, but really what it is, I think it messes with the psyche. You know there's devastating effects for running wide through that turn. And it's not that your car has a tendency to do that, because really it's not a difficult corner to pin down. It's just that I think it gets into people's heads and they end up running wider than they should, knowing that they shouldn't. And takes them into the tire wall, if not the concrete barrier there, spins them around. It can create some carnage as everybody else comes through there during the race itself. And down the hill comes Fear the Fun. Kratium currently with a 139. Again, that's with a standing start, though. So we'll see what everybody does here on their second lap through. Dino Dado saying, good luck, drivers. You're correct on Atlanta always being a part of Forza Motorsport. There you go. Testing my Forza Motorsport knowledge. Girl Pills Girl Pills, thank you for the follow. Kuda93, thank you for the follow as well. Great to have you here, and let me go ahead and do justice here to Slipstream with the subscription there, the full-on lower third banner. I appreciate the support, and really, to be honest, folks, the timing was right as far as this April 17th through the 23rd, 7 straight days of content here on Virtual Autosports, because we have the most subscribers to this channel that we've ever had at any one time right now. Right now, we have more subscribers than this channel has ever seen in the past. And so in my own guilty conscience, after our broadcast, after our week 1 broadcast, I said, man, there's no way I can have that many subscribers and only broadcast 1 day a week, right? There's just no way. And so that's kind of the origins of our Virtual Autosport test week of content here, starting on April 17th, going through the 23rd. And like I said, contingent on how things go, then we may move forward with more of that in the coming weeks, as all of you are starved for something, right? You need something to entertain you, and whatever we can do here on Virtual Autosports to help, if it's only just 2 hours at a time in the day, happy to be able to do that. We go to AMS Udakan now, who has the top time at a 1:35.626, and again is trying to go 5 straight wins in a row with a victory here at Road Atlanta, and if he can do that, then try to make it 6 in a row out at the Nordschleife of the green hell of the Nürburgring. Who do we have here? You guys are really quiet. This is the most quiet that we've seen the chat here in Season 33. Let me know that you're here, that you're not a bot. Tell me maybe who your favorite broadcaster is on Twitch. Tell me who should people watch when I'm not on. Who should people be watching right now? Or at any time. Sir Mighty's here. Dino Dado's saying, come on, Carbon. Carbon out in front there of Udakan in the qualifying session, currently with the second quickest time. Sir Mighty saying Foontang, clearly. Foontang, yes, great Grand Theft Auto content there with Foontang. I haven't seen his Foontang broadcast lately. Blouse Inertia Garage saying, I'm not a bot. Good to see you there, Blouse. Civic Element saying, Malone, go watch Malone. I think people should watch your reruns when you're not on. I think I should watch my reruns when I'm not on. That way I can learn something. I'm still trying to get good, right? That's the fun meme on the internet, is get good. Trying to still learn a lot of these drivers, their tendencies, their abilities. Get a little bit more knowledge about the cars themselves, and there's no greater way to do that than to be either a participant or a broadcaster here for the Forza Spec Racing Series, because you get 5 straight weeks of the same car, but because we go out to a different track every single race, which of course a lot of leagues and series do, the car never really acts the same from one racetrack to the next. So it's always fascinating to see what these vehicles in each of these seasons are capable of, and of course the drivers behind the wheels, what they're capable of. Looks like Cratrium's going to grab the 3rd quickest time as the rest of the drivers come across the start-finish line to log their quickest lap times, and we'll take a look at the qualifying session here in the post-race results as soon as we've jumped out of the lobby. As sure enough, there it is. Tai says this is on late. We're not on late. We're on time. Coronavera saying Dixie Speedway, Woodstock, Georgia is greater than Road Atlanta Sips, and says, yep, as if to say, hey, come fight me. If you guys got a different opinion, come fight me there, Coronavera. I don't know Dixie Speedway. You could very well be right. I won't argue the point because I don't know anything about Dixie Speedway. I called in a whole week off to rewatch everything, says Ghibli Jibs. Now, that's commitment. That is an extra dosage of commitment. All right, let's run through here with the lap times, and then we'll go turn over to the driver spotlight here in the FM4 Discord to see if any drivers are wanting to chat with us here before we get ready to go to the race itself for 19 laps around Road Atlanta. Fear the Fun with a 136.979, a 140.902 for Foontang. Modern Weapon with a 142.575. Grim at a 146. Corbin's got a 137.059. Hocus with a 137.993. Cratrim with a 136.037. Slow Motion Fire back there with a 142. Perhaps just not able to get to grips with this GXP. Not sure what it is. Carbon with a 135.701. Born as Ghost at a 137.897. Udakan, our league leader here with a 135.626. That's going to be good enough for pole position. Kuda with a dirty 138.082. That means no matter how quick that time might have been, although at a 138 it's not, if it had been quicker than one of the clean lap times, Kuda would still find him or herself at the back of the pack, which is perfectly okay. It doesn't matter. You're going to maybe you have a bad qualifying session and then you're going to turn things around in the race, or maybe you're just still getting acclimated and used to the racing here in the FM4 series, and in Kuda's case, the first time running here in FM4 Season 33 or ever. Chaos Fox with a 137.882 slipstream, and the screen keeps loading for us as Slow Motion Fire makes some adjustments to the race lobby. 137.318 for slipstream. D-Fire 999 with a 144.225. IPR Wolf with a 137.187. DTR Maverick with a 136.118. That's quick there by Maverick. That might be good enough for row number 2. Hoot Wheels with a 138.044. 137.306 for Odd Drex. By the way, going back to Hoot Wheels, she's got her work cut out for her. That's going to take some time. That's going to force her to work her way up through the pack with that time. Going to be back there with Kuda. Audrex with the 137.306, as I just mentioned, and Megachin with a 143.674. Heading on over the driver's spotlight, who do we have? Nobody. Nobody's there. Our drivers are being very, very quiet right now. Maybe we'll get somebody to jump in there and we can chat with them for a whole minute. Let's see. Blouse saying, Tai hooked me up. Wish you would watch Virtual Autosports when not online. Oh my gosh, could I stumble over that sentence any more than I did? Yeah, just go over to, so anybody who's interested in watching our broadcast back, especially season number 33 here, to get caught up in terms of why the standings are the way that they are, go to twitch.tv/Virtual Autosports, click on that video tab, and then look for either the past broadcast section, which will just have a few of the more recent broadcasts, or go to the highlights tab, where I've actually truncated the videos down to be just the very beginning and the end of the broadcast, so that you can forego some of the pre-race activity there with the music and all that. We get rid of that and get you right into the Pit Pass pre-race show. And of course, on demand, you can forward it and rewind it all you wish. So no problems there. It looks like we may have gained a driver, or no, actually we didn't. 20 drivers on the grid. But there is a look at the standings right now, just to bring you back up to speed with Udakan trying to go for 5 straight wins in a row. Can anybody stop him? Will it be Corvid? Will it be Carbon, who I believe is going to be on row number 2, maybe even on the outside of the pole sitter? We'll have to see once we get out there on the track. Then Cratrim Maverick, who had a fantastic time. Fear the Fun, IPR Wolf, and Slipstream, who's made his way up through the grid and then through the leaderboard here. And then Hoot Wheels, again, who was 18th entering week number 2, now entering week number 3 in 13th position with 48 points. Nobody over there in the driver interview section. That's okay. We'll catch somebody here after race number 1 of the night. LSCM Chaos Fox with the host. Thank you very much, Chaos Fox. Kuda says, nothing like starting my first race last. Well, hey, Kuda, nothing like winning a race after starting last. Am I right? 0 to hero? You got this, Kuda. You got this. And no, I know Kuda, maybe he or she is disappointed in the performance during qualifying. But really, if you're watching this broadcast now and you're thinking, hey, this Forza Spec Racing Series might be up my alley. I'm not a great racer, but I would sure love to be a part of organized racing where I know that there's not going to be griefers, there's not going to be crashers, there's reliable people that I can anticipate will have sportsmanlike conduct out there race after race, week after week, and that you could do some tuning and testing and maybe learn a little bit from as well. I'm sure a couple of these drivers will be willing to lend a few minutes before or after the race to kind of give you some pointers and let you think about some things, mull over some stuff, and perhaps lend you a tune. So head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4 or just follow the link that Nightbot has dropped in there for you and get yourself registered. Even if you're not going to be in, well, I shouldn't say if you're not going to be in the running for the championship here in season 33. But I know with a couple of spots left open here on the grid tonight, they'll be happy to accommodate you in week number 4 or 5. Getting that full grid, that's what we really love for both the spectators and the drivers. It lends that much more opportunity to gain experience when you have a full grid of racers to contend with. Come back to us, Frames. Come back to us. Looks like we got him back. All right, it's Udakan with Carbon. Sure enough, they're in P2. We'll hang out here with, let's actually go to, well, I'm going to keep the camera before it switches over and then we miss the start of the race. Udakan, the first to roll off, signifies the start. And here we go. Kick the tires and light the fires, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 5 of Season 33 here in the Forza Spec Racing Series with the Pontiac GXP is underway out here at Road Atlanta, the full circuit. AMS Udakan's going to lead them up the hill toward turns 2, 3, and 4 through the chicane. Again, look out for the tire barriers, although those might be removed. Indeed, they are here with the Forza race regulations turned on. AMS Udakan, a good car and a half, maybe even 2-car length lead here over Carbon. Let's go to Craytrim in 3rd position as they go through and out of the S's into turn number 5, kind of over this hump here, and you see Maverick, Fear the Fun, and Corvid run a little bit wide, which is to be expected. That's pretty traditional in racing out here at Road Atlanta. You'll see the cars go up over that runoff section, over the curbing, and onto some of the asphalt, and then bring it back out onto the racing surface. Here comes Craytrim looking in the inside of turn number 7 before they head up the hill underneath the Motul Bridge, and they'll remain in single file formation. No side-by-side racing here through the first 7 cars. It's jumped back to Hoot Wheels in 11th position, who already has claimed multiple spots after being at the back of the pack following qualifying. Out in front of Chaos Fox right now, heading into turn number 10A, or coming up to it as you come down the hill. And they remain in single file formation. Nobody going side by side. Road Atlanta doesn't have a lot of great spots to do that apart from the long backstretch there between turn 7 and 10A. Otherwise, it's pretty daring to go wheel to wheel as they go by the start-finish line here for the beginning of lap number 2. Back up to the front with Craytrim in 3rd position. We'll go ahead and hop on board with Craytrim, cutting through 2, 3, and 4. A couple wheels onto the grass, the other 2 wheels within the racing surface, or the racing the track limits, as we see Udakan actually get 4 wheels off into the grass there coming out of turn number 4. And now here they head back toward 6 and 7, this panhandle section of Road Atlanta. Fear the Fun, 6th position. He's got Audrex on the outside of him. Audrex now in the Wu-Tang Clan car, as opposed to the what was all too predictable Andy Risen livery. And now Audrex will move up to 6th position, punting Fear the Fun, and not physically punting him, but metaphorically punting him back to 7th spot as they roll down the backstretch. Running through the field, it's Udakan in first, Carbon in 2nd, Craytrim, Corbin in 3rd and 4th, respectively. Then it's Maverick, as we see, well, just there in the foreground. Then Audrex, Fear the Fun, IPR Wolf back behind Audrex, or back behind Fear the Fun. And then behind Wolf is Slipstream, Hoot Wheels, now up to 10th position. Hocus in 11th, Born as Ghost is 12th. Chaos Fox, Food Tank, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon are 13th through 16th. Then it's Grim, Kuda, Megachin, D-Fire, all the way back to the caboose position, P20. 20 cars started, 20 still on the track. That's what we like to see. A little bit of dust getting kicked up there out of turn 3 as we return now to Craytrim, who's trying to keep pace here with Carbon. Carbon now starting to establish a 2 or 3 car lead over P3. How are are the audio levels? I tried to make some adjustments to make everything sound better than what it was the other night. You guys let me know if something seems amiss, and I'll try to get it fixed as quickly as possible. I think what it is, it's the unpredictability of the engine noise at these tracks. Some of these tracks, the Pontiac GXP Solstice sounds a lot louder than it does at another track, and so that's something that I've had to make some adjustments to. Out here at Road Atlanta, I think it's a little bit on the low end, and then at Nürburgring, I suspect it'll be much lower with fewer cars in a single area. But look at that. All the way back from 10A to turn 7. The whole slew of 20 spread out, spread thin as the leads begin to get established here. Corbin beginning to get to a point where he's going to be running by himself here. Audrex still in 6th position after that pass around Fear the Fun. DWM saying sounds good. Good to see you there, DWM Frog. Thanks for the help, and same to you there, Ghibli Jibs. Audio sounds great. If you're just now joining in, you're watching the Forza Spec Racing Series here live on Virtual Autosports. Season number 33 in the Pontiac GXP, week number 3. We'll be past the midway point after this race here. We'll head out to the Nürburgring for the Nordschleife, and here comes Fear the Fun, who's now going to take that spot back, or at least make an effort to, as he goes to the inside here through turn 4 on Audrex. And look at that, they're going to go hubcap to hubcap, although those aren't hubcaps, those are most certainly rims. And there goes the Sparks, and they're going to go side by side down. Well, actually, nope. It's going to be Fear the Fun who's going to drop back to 7th position now. And does he lose another spot? Yes, IPR Wolf is now going to come into the mix. And IPR Wolf almost made a move there, but Fear the Fun jutted back out to the inside, coming into turn number 6, and was able to block the door. Fear the Fun, at least tentatively, in 7th position, but now he's got a gaggle of cars ready to take that spot from him. Carbon is still in 2nd, back behind Uticon with Kratrum in 3rd. Corbin in 4th, who I said is beginning to get out on his lonesome, with Maverick falling back behind him in 5th. We're going to hang out here. Let's actually put the camera on IPR Wolf's car in 8th position. Back behind him, the Valvoline. Well, actually, that's not Valvoline. That's just Slipstream's car with... Trying to make out what the sponsor is on that one. Engine and your voice are right when it should be, which is great because I'm nearly deaf. I just talk a little louder, right? Just continue to scream all throughout the race. I won't have enough energy, especially to get through the Nürburgring race, which that'll be a beast. We got plenty of racing action coming out here tonight. We're not even halfway through this one. And then 4 laps around the Nordschleife. Here they come through 3 and 4. Once again, Wolf right there on the back of Slipstream as they start to lose sight of Fear the Fun, and Audrex is peeling away. Hootwheel still back there in 10th position. Hocus in 11th. Chaos Fox is 12th with Born as Ghost in 13th. Funtang in 14th. Let's go to 14th position with Funtang, who's got the NVIDIA car trying to get around Born as Ghost there, and nothing happening there through turn number 6. Let's see who's got the upper hand here on the back straightaway. You go up the hill, so you're going to have to really make the most out of that 265 horsepower, and then you can start to use gravity to your advantage, rolling downhill. Street exhaust, race flywheel, race brakes, race springs, race front and rear roll bars, a sport weight reduction with a race roll cage, street clutch, sport transmission, street driveline, race differential. The rear tires are 305s on 35 18-inch rims, and those rims are HRE P45 SC rims. Then you've got the street front bumper and the street rear bumper with street side skirts, which is actually a bit unusual here for the Forza Spec Racing Series. They typically go for the Forza arrow. That way you can make the adjustments. Not the case here in season number 33. The car picked, the Pontiac Solstice, was LMP Chicago's choice after winning season number 32. Kratrum still here in 3rd position, and we'll see. Uticon mentioning in our interview back in week number 2 that he did, in fact, purposefully sandbag to keep things interesting at the front. Still, nobody was able to take advantage of that, and I'm curious as to whether or not that's the case here. Now, heading out to the Nordschleife, he said he's less confident about that track. One, because he doesn't do much testing in this car by itself, but really, when you think about one of the tracks that probably a lot of these drivers have the least amount of time out on, it's the Nürburgring, because maybe, yeah, sure, you turn one lap, but then you've only seen the track once. Maybe you only do races where there's 2 laps of the Nürburgring. Okay, you've seen that track twice, and a large swath where you got to memorize a lot. You haven't necessarily taken this vehicle out there, I bet, the Pontiac Solstice GXP, so a lot of unknowns when you go out there, but of course then that's the case for everybody. So it's not going to be Udacon's not going to be the only one facing those odds. It's everybody else. Let's go back to Fear the Fun here in 7th position, and Tiger U.S. Army. Tiger U.S. Army, thank you very much for the follow, and if you are a service member, thank you, sir or ma'am, for your service. Fear the Fun here in 7th position with Slipstream still knocking on the door here through the chicane. The S is at the top of the hill. This is not necessarily the tallest part of the track. It's here on the back straightaway where the elevation is highest, but you do get that undulation there coming out of turn number 1 up through 2, 3, 4, and then you go back downhill. Then you come back up, as you see here, for turn number 5, then down towards 6 and 7 before you head back uphill on the back straightaway. Ghibli Jibs rooting on Go Slow Motion Fire. I've got my life savings riding on you. Ghibli Jibs is taking his money to Vegas here for the Forza Spec Racing Series. Why not? You can't gamble on real sports. Let's bring it to the virtual world, I guess. Oh, great. That's all we need, right? I think they're already doing that, though, right? Hadn't Vegas created odds for drivers to win some of the iRacing events that have taken place? It's crazy how much the esport world has evolved here in the last, 5, 6 weeks. Simply insane. Udacon's going to lead them down the hill as we ride on board here with Carbon, or at least did momentarily, across the line, beginning of lap number 8 of 19. That 20th lap being a cooldown lap. Very, very quiet there in the Twitch chat, folks. I encourage you, if you're a lurker, just at least say hello. I want to be able to engage with you guys throughout the race. It's as much fun talking with you all, even though you guys don't have the benefit of the voice. You got to do it through text, so you got to type it out there. But it's equally as fun, if not more fun, to chat with you all about the race, what your thoughts are, maybe about the Forza franchise, what's coming up, either in the Horizon world or what we suspect will be the Forza Motorsport world if they decide to change up the name. But let's get ourselves. It's a Tuesday night. We're heading toward the midpoint of the weekend. We're at the midpoint of season number 33. Let's get it going a little bit. Brexit saying I'm not fun. Well, we know that, Brexit. Brexit. And Brexit, you're going to have to remind me of what your former gamer tag was, because you are a long-time participant of events that I've hosted and of Forza community events, so people are probably very familiar with either your Brexit name or your former name. And I appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Tuesday evening, which would be, well, you're stateside, so not too late for you. But any of you that are watching us from abroad, thank you so much here in the wee hours of the morning, or maybe it's just a very late evening. I appreciate you being tuned in. It's always great to have a crowd here, and I'm Dustin Moore, bringing you the action behind the microphone. And we've got a lot more coming to you here, not in the next couple of days, but picking back up on Friday with Forza Friday. We'll walk through that schedule here in between this race and our Nürburgring Nordschleife race, and then, of course, we'll talk about it a little bit later on. Here's DTR Maverick riding solo here in 5th position with that flex tape car and the Texas plate there on the back end. I can appreciate that as a newly arrived Texas citizen. Well, I guess not new. I'm not new by most standards. A little over 2 years now here in the Lone Star State, South Central Texas. Maverick taking it down into turn number 6. He's got 4th through 1st in the opposite corner there. Let's go up to Craytrim here, who remains in 3rd position. And as Craytrim and Carbon have tried to keep pace with Udacon, that's actually allowed Corbin in the part of the SGR team, or at least representing the SGR team, to move up a bit. Still sitting in fourth, but closing the gap here on third place, which is Cratrim. Marqueas saying, I'm watching because my friend Maverick is racing. Well, Marcus, or Marqueas, or Marcus, maybe we can call you as Marcus Chaos, I don't know. Marqueas is probably what you prefer, but hopefully we can make you a long-time viewer with or without Maverick's presence. But, hey, appreciate you being here nonetheless, as we see Cratrim now here with the Swordfish car, colors and all. Virtual Autosports there on the kicker panel. Fourth position. Actually, let's go ahead and ride around Road Atlanta a bit here with Cratrim. I need that Reliant Robin in Forza Motorsport 8 so I can beat every Ferrari. That will occupy my time for like a whole year, trying to hone your skills with the Reliant Robin. I know a lot of folks are probably hoping that we see more like race cars. I don't know. I'm kind of split. Like, I love the variety of the Forza franchise. I've always appreciated that about Forza. I know Gran Turismo has been like synonymous with like everyday cars being in their titles until it came to Gran Turismo Sport. Then it was less so, but Forza Motorsport has had a fair variety of your race cars and then everyday cars like the GXP, or at least what would have been an everyday car back in its prime. Even though there weren't so many of them, there weren't a lot of the Solstices produced back between 2005, 2009, before Pontiac went defunct there in 2010 after the government bailout of General Motors. And the Solstice, as a matter of fact, if you look up the Solstice and its sister car, the Saturn Sky, it's amazing. It's actually quite amazing, the cult following that this car has of people looking for low mileage Solstices or Skies to add to their garage. And some of these cars, at least the last time I read a story about it, were selling anywhere between $30,000, $60,000 low mileage as kind of collector cars of one of the final vehicles to roll off the assembly line for Pontiac. You had the GTO, which I think was shuttered before GM went defunct. What was it, the G6, the Pontiac G6, or whatever it was called, the four-door vehicle, which had a performance version. I don't know that anybody was really all that excited about that car. But this Solstice and the Saturn version, the Sky, kind of an interesting cult following. Fear the Fun, maybe with a little bit of a nudge there on the back bumper of Slipstream, sending Slipstream wide. I will reserve judgment until I'm absolutely certain, but it did look like there was a little bit of contact heading into turn number 7 there, and we'll see if Slipstream's able to catch back up. These two have been jockeying for position here for the last, well, make it 11 laps really at this point, or 10 3/4 as they get ready to put it in here to lap number 11 and start lap 12. Let's go to our Virtual Autosports rewind and see if we can't make out what had happened there in turn number 7. As you can see there, Cratrim, and then watch here in the foreground as Slipstream and, well, maybe we're not going to see it. I thought we would. And there goes D-Fire. D-Fire turned around here at the start-finish line. Having troubles there with that final right-hander. And he's not even on camera there, as that car is very, very damaged and doing the right thing. Might I say that D-Fire is doing exactly what is expected of all drivers here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Even though you've just passed pit lane, the pit lane entry is just before that final right-hander, turn number 12, toward the start-finish line. Do not backtrack toward the pit lane. Got to get around the track, and that's exactly what D-Fire is doing, so kudos to him. That's the kind of sportsmanship and the right course of action that they ask the drivers to take. There's not a lot of rigor. There's not high expectations for how you drive here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, only that you drive clean and that you observe real-world racing rules, that you do not drive backwards to go to pit lane. That's just a big no-no. Spend more time on ACC now. Forza Motorsport 8 is going to need to be good, says Brexit. I hear you, man. I played more Assetto Corsa than I expected over the weekend, and I really, really loved it. Like I said, I only started the season. I want to get familiar with the cars, how they drive, how the track, what the physics system is before I start dabbling in the online multiplayer. So I just went out to Zolder for the first race of the season, did the full race weekend, qualifying, practice, the race, the two 1-hour stint races, and had a blast. Had so much fun. And so I can't wait to, on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, bring to you all my experience in Assetto Corsa Competizione in the Nissan GTR, the 2018 car, as I head out to Brands Hatch. And it looks like qualifying, or at least practice, has a little bit of weather, a little bit of precipitation to deal with. So that's going to be interesting. Join me for that one. We'll take a look at that schedule. Here comes Graham now, one of the back markers, mingling with P4 and 5. Maverick's going to get around cleanly here as they head out onto the back straightaway. Coming into that little bend there, turn number 8. Brexit, I'll have to take you up on that after I get a little bit more experience. It was probably a good 4 hours of ACC that I got in on Sunday, and while I felt really good with it, that was just at Zolder. So there's a lot of tracks in ACC that I'm not familiar with. Brands Hatch I'm familiar with, so that will be one where I'm not learning the track so much as I am just how to get around the track with ACC's physics. But after I get several more hours worth of experience in that title, I would love to be a part of a server that you guys have going and see how I fare there as they go across the line now for beginning of lap number 14. D-Fire, I saw there in the background going into pit lane, was able to hobble around the track. So running through the field, it's AMS Unicon out in front. Carbon in second, Corvin in third. Craytrim has fallen back to fourth position now. Maverick in fifth. And then it's Audrex in sixth. Fear the Fun in seventh, and Slipstream in eighth. We're continuing to watch that battle. A real close one here for seventh position. Then IPR Wolf in ninth, Hocus in 10th, Foontang in 11th, Chaos Fox, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Kuda, Hoot Wheels are 12th through 16th. Then it's Mega Chin, Born as Ghost, Grim, and D-Fire. All 20 drivers who started are still out there on the track. That's what we love to see. Big time. No DCs at this point. Knock on wood. 19-lap race, and there goes Fear the Fun off the track a little bit. Slipstream having to get on the brakes as Fear the Fun came darting back out on the raceway. I say darting, but he kind of just merged over. Brexit says, I went straight to multiplayer. I'm not as good as you all, though. I'm not anywhere near as good as you all. That's what you've got to realize. I am a casual racer, as casual as they come. Let's go back up to fourth position with Craytrim here as they come toward the start-finish line. Lap 15. So 5 laps remaining here in this 19-lap race. That 20th will be a cool-down lap. Somebody trying to end the reign of victories that has been AMS Unicon, just obliterating the field. And if somebody doesn't do it soon, this season is quickly going to land in the lap of Unicon, because it's going to be really hard to overcome the points total that he's racked up coming out of week number 3 if it is 5 or 6 wins. And actually, I said Craytrim fell back to fourth. Craytrim has been in fourth throughout this race. It's Corvid there in third position. Carbon, who started second, is still in second. And Unicon, who was our pole position driver coming out of qualifying, started this race here, is still the race leader. Solar says, you'll be on a wheel, right? Yeah, I have a Fanatic CSR that is one of the Forza Motorsport 4 branded Fanatic CSRs. I got it back in the Xbox 360 days when I'm like, oh, cool, this wheel should be good for like a long time. And then sure enough, oh, look at that move by Corvid around Cratrim, reclaiming third position. That switchback was rude. Holy smokes. And unfortunately, it looks like we dropped some frames, but we'll be able to roll this back here on the Virtual Autosport Rewind. Corvid with a nasty, nasty switchback here on Cratrium. Sick. That was like an ankle breaker. That's the equivalent of an ankle breaker there in basketball. Corvid saying, I would love to have third position back, and did it in the just most disgusting way possible, and disgusting in this case being good. Corvid back up to third, Cratrim in the Swordfish car in fourth, Maverick in fifth. Yeah, so I have the Fanatic CSR, got it in the Xbox 360 days, and then they announced the Xbox One and said, oh yeah, none of the accessory items, none of the racing wheels, none of the controllers, none of that will be usable on the Xbox One X or the Xbox One. And I said, well, great, now I just have this racing wheel and chair that isn't going to do anything for me. And then that's when I decided, after Forza was like, yeah, we're going to PC, I'm like, awesome. PC is where I'm going to be then. And racing the Fanatic CSR with a set of Corsa Competizione it's like butter. Like butter. Here comes Slipstream now. Going to try to make his own move here on Fear the Fun. Look at that side-by-side choreographed. Very good. Very good. Just ability to composure is what the word I'm looking for. Very good composure there by both drivers. And now Slipstream is going to go ahead and nab 7th position, coming past the start-finish line here, lap 17. Oh, Slow Motion Fire got disconnected. Slow Motion Fire has just had a terrible, terrible season here in Season 33. Has not gone well for him. Let's go ahead and take a look at Slipstream making the move there on Fear the Fun. Two and 3/4 laps remaining. AMS Udakan trying to go back to back here in season number 33 with the Pontiac Solstice GXP. Back behind him, Corvid, Cratrim, and Carbon. Carbon there in second position. Corvid and Cratrim third and fourth, respectively. In fifth is DTR Maverick, who's been there all this time. Let's see if he's got a pass in him here in the remaining 2 laps. Audrex in sixth with Slipstream and Fear the Fun back behind him. Those two are that battle is in its 20th round here. Well, actually, let's call it the 18th round since it's 18 laps. IPR Wolf in 9th, Hocus in 10th, Foontang in 11th, Chaos Fox all by himself in 12th. Then it's Modern Weapon in 13th, Kuda in 14th, Hoot Wheels in 15th, Born as Ghost, Mega Chin, and Grim are 16th, 17th, and 18th. D-Fire in 19th, and Slow Motion Fire, as reporting, disconnected here from this race. Maverick's going to run out wide there through turn number 5 as they come charging down the hill toward turn number 6. There's going to be Corvid, who is dealing with Megachin, the back marker. Now Cratrim's going to have to do the same. Megachin is going to run the outside line, giving plenty of room there for Cratrim to get on by, and so Cratrim can continue on. And it looks like Maverick will now have a nice clean path around Grim here on the back straightaway, or Megachin on the back straightaway. Maverick not having to make that pass through the corners as they get ready to wind down lap number 18. White flag will fly next time out of turn number 12. So Motion Fire says it's getting old. It's always the same time. I can appreciate that frustration. It's just you're going along, and then all of a sudden to have the screen just collapse on you, or the game, or whatever it was. All right, here we go. Last lap with AMS Unicon, our race leader. Just kind of toying with Carbon, I believe. They're in second position. And unless Carbon can make a miracle happen, or Unicon makes a mistake, this should be where these two finish. Corvid there in third. Cratrium and Maverick. Close race for fourth. Let's get the camera here on Maverick. What's up there, AMS Storm? Good to see you. And Maverick with the flex tape car heading down the hill. Do you dare go for it? You've got a couple of seconds on Audrex in sixth. Actually, several. Probably about 5 or 6 seconds here. So if you're going to make a run at Cratrium, do it quick. 2 corners left here. Turns 11, now 12. And it's not going to happen for Maverick. First going to Unicon. Second is Carbon. Third is Corvid. Cratrium in fourth. Maverick in fifth. Audrex in sixth. Right now, let's go to Slipstream in seventh as they come out of 10B up the hill underneath the Road Atlanta Bridge. And Audrex will finish in sixth. Slip in seventh. Fear the Fun in eighth. Wolf in ninth. Foontang is 10th. Chaos Fox in 11th. Let's go to Modern Weapon here in 13th position, as these two are racing back toward the line. Hocus and Modern are. Down the hill. Modern way late on the braking as he sends the back end into a fishtail. Now is regained composure up the hill, but not going to be able to make a run here at Hocus. Hocus for 12th. Modern Weapon for 13th. 14th goes to Kuda Hoot Wheels, who's, again, just had the bottom fall out for her here in season number 33, race number 5 in 14th, or excuse me, 15th. Bornas goes 16th. Megachin is 17th. Grim, and then D-Fire, and Soul Motion Fire by default with the DNF will pick up 3 points in 20th position. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and run 3 minutes worth of ads. The benefit that this brings is that anybody who joins us in the next 20 minutes or so will be able to avoid any of those pre-rolls to get right into the racing action for our next one out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. You will not miss anything, I promise. If you can hang tight and watch through the ads, it's greatly appreciated because it benefits me as the broadcaster. And again, I can't stress it enough, you will not miss any action. I'm going to go ahead and take note of where everybody finished. We'll talk with either one or two of our drivers here in the driver spotlight, and then we'll get ready for 3 laps. And it may be fewer, or it may be an abbreviated qualifying session. We'll have to see what they've got set up here for the qualifying out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And then we'll get ready for 4 laps around the 12.93-mile Green Hell. You're watching the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33 in the Pontiac GXP Solstice. I'm Dustin Moore, and this is Virtual Autosports, live on Twitch TV. For those of you not receiving ads, either because you're a subscriber, thank you very much for that support, or because maybe just Twitch doesn't have any ads for your particular region, thank you very much for watching Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV. We'll get back to the broadcast here in about 50 seconds. But if you are enjoying the content and you haven't yet clicked that, not the subscription button, you can if you wish, but really, if you haven't clicked that follow button, please click it. It lets me know as the broadcaster that you are enjoying the content, gets you the notifications each time that we go live here on Virtual Auto Sport, and then just generally it gives you the ability to just be more engaged with what we've got going on here on the broadcast. I'm Baja. Oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this one. I'm Baja Secal or something like that. Thank you. Actually, let me try this again. I'm going to go with Baja. I'm Baja. Thank you very much for the follow and welcome to the broadcast. Good to have you here. And oh, my game just crashed. How about that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Virtual Auto Sport here live on Twitch TV. And just as we were coming out of the commercial break, I lost my Forza Motorsport 7. It crashed on me. So I'm going to go ahead and get that launched back up and get into the lobby as they get ready for qualifying out here, either at the Nordschleife or at the Nürburgring, something rather. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Slow Motion Fire can let us know there in the pit lane. That way we're all up to speed on how this is going to work, because obviously qualifying at the Nordschleife could take some time. Might just very well be the case, and it would be rightfully so if they just did qualifying out there, but maybe they got something different in mind. A lot more content coming here to the channel over the next 7 days, starting, well, actually over the next 10 days, but starting on Friday with Forza Friday. We'll be doing our own Forza Friday broadcast here on Virtual Auto Sport, and it will be still doing the activity that the Forza Friday broadcast is doing on the official Forza channel. We'll just be participating, and so you'll see from my perspective my participation in those races. And if we have enough folks from our channel to put together a culminating event here there on that evening, then maybe we'll do our own little fun like derby event. And if you're not familiar with what those are here on the Virtual Auto Sports channel, well, it's basically we run that figure 8 track of the Top Gear circuit with racing clean on the outer loops, but the middle part is no holds bar. It's really just a fun time to kind of let loose, especially on a Friday after maybe we've done some racing in the ABC lobbies or wherever we happen to go. It's a lot of fun, and it provides some spectacular action for our viewers. They love seeing the collisions there throughout that race at the intersection, not on the outer loops. It's supposed to be clean out there, and then usually we get people to get into oddball cars like the limo and the racing truck, or maybe it's the Beetle and a Hummer, whatever it might be. We'll see how things go on Friday. And then on Saturday, ACC in the morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So be here for that as I just delve into the world. Like, I'm just getting settled in, like very much a rookie season for me, as I try to get familiar with the video game itself, the simulation, I should say. And then once I've gotten enough experience, then maybe in forthcoming Saturdays we'll actually go into multiplayer and do that. Pardon me, as on the back end here, I'm trying to work out getting back into the lobby after a disconnect, or actually a complete game crash. Then on Sunday, it's the return of 3050, and if you don't know what that is, then you need to head to the Virtual Auto Sports Discord, where I have all the information placed. You can find that Discord channel down below, or at least you should be able to. Oh my gosh, do I actually have a link to the Discord down below? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Let me try this. Nope, that doesn't even work. Hold on. I just realized it was like an aha moment there where I'm like, I don't even think I have an invite set up. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Let's throw that there in the Twitch chat. Head on over to that Discord channel where I've got all the information on 3050, everything you need to know. It is a racing experience in Forza Motorsport like none other. I promise you it. I guarantee you it. And you're going to have a lot of fun. You get a car randomly selected for you. You get to select, but you do it randomly. You don't know what car you're picking until you pick it. And it's done through a game show like style here on the channel. So you got to be very much engaged with the broadcast to know what's going on. And then you try to make the most of that car, whatever car you get. I actually have a poll up on Twitter, and let me see if I actually have that loaded in as a command. There you go, the Virtual Autosports Twitter. Go over to the Virtual Autosports Twitter, where right now you could pick on 2 divisions of cars. The one division that you want to be the eligible roster of vehicles for that 3050 event on Sunday. Either the Hot Hatch Genesis division or the Rise of the Supercar division. Pick your favorite, and then over the weekend we'll know which vehicle division will be run in 3050, our inaugural run of this kind of never-ending open leaderboard format. It's not going to be a season format. It's just, hey, come out on Sundays and have some fun racing with us as we get ready for the next motorsport title. Like, I want to get back into maybe looking at hosting more structured events when the new title launches. But right now, at least for me, I want to be able to host some events that I think you all can have a great time with. And 3050, just ask Crimson. Crimson will tell you everything you need to know about how fun 3050 is. Then after the weekend shenanigans have all come to a close, we'll be back on Monday for Be a Better Photographer at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Then same bat time, same bat channel, a week from tonight with the Forza Spec Racing Series week number 4, heading out to, what's it going to be, Silverstone, the International Circuit in rain, a little bit of weather, and then also Virginia International Raceway, the full circuit. So we've got that coming to you here a week from tonight. Then on Wednesday, it's Wildcard Wednesday. What will I be broadcasting? I know, but you guys don't. Be here on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for that one. And then Thursday Night Throwdown. I'm going to have the event posted up on the Discord, the Virtual Autosport Discord, and over on my Twitter. And if you are interested in a 60-minute race, an endurance-style event with a little bit of pit stop action, a little strategy involved, then get yourself ready to go for that one. Once I post that race information, then you'll have several days to kind of prep for that event, and then on Thursday we'll broadcast that. And then depending on how things go, from April 17th through the 23rd, we may continue with daily content. It all really depends on how engaged you all are, how well received the events are. If it seems worth it, we'll continue with it. If it doesn't, then we'll reconsider what the schedule looks like. But that's what you've got coming at you beginning this Friday with the Forza Spec Racing Series. Actually, not the Forza Spec Racing Series, Forza Friday. Forza Friday. All right, here we go. Heading out to somewhere on the Nürburgring for qualifying ahead of a 4-lap race at the Nordschleife, and they are going to be at the Nordschleife. So 1 lap of qualifying. You've got to make it as good as you possibly can here on a standing start. Even if you dirty the lap, try to post the quickest time, because there might be a lot of drivers who have a dirty lap here. Kuda is going to be the first one with the Michelin livery car. Off the line is heading through turn bajillion and 1. 12.93 mile Nordschleife, the green hell here in Germany. And here goes Kuda. All by himself, and it's not, whereas going around the track and seeing some of the other drivers out there might be enough of a factor to kind of throw you off a bit and make you lose tenths, hundredths, thousandths of a second. Out here, it's just really, you got to be so focused on what part of the track is out in front of you. It's a big track. It's a lot of corners to memorize. Of course, those of us who've been racing it in the virtual world for some time, very familiar with the layout, but when you're trying to set a quick time and you only got 1 lap to do it, it's kind of a different feeling, a different atmosphere. And so who can hold their own for 12.93 miles? I suspect it's going to be somewhere around maybe 9 to 10 minutes worth of qualifying time, maybe less, maybe 8, 9, 10 minutes. Let's go back to Udakan, who has won 5 straight. And we haven't talked to any of our drivers in the driver's spotlight. They're being very, very quiet here tonight, much like you all are in the chat. Again, if you're enjoying the content here, please click that follow button. But I'd love for y'all to say hi. Give me your thoughts on the season. Has Udakan effectively locked it up here in Season 33, which if you win a championship here in in the Forza Spec Racing Series, not only do you get the bragging rights, but then you also get the ability to pick the car for the next season. So like what Chicago had done after winning Season 32 in the R31, pick the Pontiac Solstice GXP, it could very well be Udakan who's going to be selecting the car for Season 34. And whether it's going to be a performance base that is lower than what we've got here with the C500 Pontiac Solstice, or it's going to be higher, we just don't know. We don't know. That's the cool thing about this series. And once the champion picks the car, it's not immediately announced what that vehicle is. Slow Motion Fire will take some obscure shots, photos of the car. If you can guess the vehicle correctly and you're a participant in season number 34, you've registered, and you guess that car correctly, you get to pick one of the tracks. So a nice little opportunity for an advantage if one of these tracks is like your sweet spot, your home track, so to speak, here in the world of Forza Motorsport 7, either on the Xbox One or the PC. If you're in the least bit interested in participating, I definitely encourage you to head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Nightbot has the link for you there. Click on that, get over there, introduce yourself, get registered, and race with them here in week number 4. Even though you won't be in the running for the championship a week from tonight, in week number 4, get out here on the track. We've got 21 or 20 out here? 20 out on the track right now. We would love to see the lobby full. We had a full lobby in week number 1. We had a whole slew of people watching here in the broadcast. That level of excitement again in week 4, and then for the finale in week number 5 when they head out to the Prague short circuit for 69 laps. That will be exciting if we can get that level of participation back up here for the remaining 2 weeks. You're a fan of animal-related drivers. Redacted as heck says same. Born as Ghost having some troubles here. Gets up onto the guardrail. Let's go ahead and hang out with, let's go to Hoot Wheels, who currently, and granted this doesn't really tell us much, but 6th right now in terms of the amount of time that that any of the drivers have been out on the track, and now we've got a nice little loading screen, and we are going to lose our connection. Interesting. I know there were some connection issues with Forza over the weekend. And apparently they have infected us again here. Or they've infected me, at least for the first time. I hadn't had any troubles like this with Forza for quite some time. And so now we're going to have to try to get back in there. And then, of course, we'll see what everybody's lap time looks like. Did everybody did? Everybody got disconnected. Oh, wow. Well, how about that, huh? A 20-fer. Hoot Wheels says esports ready. You know it. Oh. Can you imagine if this happened in the iRacing world where they have so many eyes on them? It's amazing. Like, I don't know what their contingency plan is if something were to happen like that during one of their national broadcasts. But can you imagine? I mean, we've only got a couple handfuls of people watching this broadcast, and it's already kind of like, oh, this is the awkward moment. But for man, if that were to happen in iRacing, oh gosh, I would not want to be the people on the back end of that one to be like, hey, what went wrong? What happened? There's your standings entering week number 3 with Udakan there at 100 points. Of course, that'll tick up to 200 points now because the very worst he could do is to disconnect or come in dead last in this race out of the Nürburgring, and it will not affect his standings on the leaderboard whatsoever. It'll be 200 points to his name no matter what heading into week number 4. And then, of course, we'll have to see what everybody else looks like with that drop week rule in effect. We take it into account all throughout the season with our leaderboard. We're not showing total points. We're just showing championship points. You can see the total points tally over at the reddit.com/r/FM4 page, where they have a running total of all the points that people have accumulated across all the races without the drop week rule in effect. But yeah, if you're looking for a league, and Slow Motion said it perfectly, that this is a beer league. Like, this is the kind of league that you sign up for with not really any intention, not really any serious expectations for yourself. Although there might very well be some drivers who join this league and go, I should definitely be in the top 5, top 3, or be winning races. But you too can race with these folks, and you'll find somebody of your similar race skill out here on the track. I don't have a doubt in the world that you'll find somebody that you compete closely with and see how you fare over time. If you get better, as an indication that, yeah, you know what, this is helping my skill level. This is helping me get better week after week. And actually, we're a little bit ahead of time here tonight, so this is not necessarily a bad thing that we had that disconnect. Obviously, we would prefer not to have the disconnect. But get out here in the remainder of season number 33 in the Pontiac Solstice GXP. The very worst thing that can happen is you spend a little bit of time behind the wheel of the Pontiac GXP, a car that you may not have even touched in the world of Forza Motorsport 7, and boom, you're getting your money's worth now out of the game by enjoying the content. RadFX, thank you for the follow. Good to have you. Hoot Will says, I'm going to at least get to redo my lap. I spun right after the first turn. Oh, Hoot Wills. Why has it gone so wrong for you here in Season 33? Maybe the car for Season 34 will be a lot more, well, I shouldn't say forgiving for you, but maybe it'll be more up your alley, the kind of car layout and configuration that you prefer, and maybe make for a better season for you next time around. But still, Hoot Wills, again, was able to make it over from 18th position to now 11th over on the leaderboard. So still not a bad season, but obviously could be much, much higher right now. Riding with Audrex now, as we have reestablished a connection with the Forza Motorsport 7 servers after everybody got disconnected. Everyone. Civic Element saying yes, they are a Civic Element. We are back into the one-lap qualifier, and yes, a one-lap standing start qualifier, again, where a lot of drivers might end up with dirty laps. So even if you dirty your lap, keep on it, because your quick time still might put you pretty far up in the grid if you get four wheels out of the track limits. Drivers looking pretty tidy coming out of Ehrenberg. Audrex now about almost halfway through this 12.93 mile circuit here, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, a track that has been with Forza Motorsport since the original. The track that was included with Forza Motorsport 3 came by way of DLC, was the GP circuit, which is a blast of a track to drive. My only question to the developers, the Turn 10 Studios, is why did we lose so many of the short circuits of the GP track? It makes me sad. Every time that I go to the Nürburgring and I click the track selection, and you get the Nürburgring Nordschleife, you get the Nürburgring GP circuit. Then you get the Nordschleife Nürburgring 24-hour track. But now, those short circuits that we used to have in Forza Motorsport 3, 4, I think even 5, are all gone. Civic Element loves the GP circuit. But if you remember when the GP debuted in Forza Motorsport 3, and yes, you had to buy it via DLC, which ended up being a mistake that has not been repeated since. The GP was so dang bumpy in Forza Motorsport 3. Maybe it was authentic, but when you compare it to other tracks across the Forza Motorsport 3 title, it was apparently or inherently more bumpy than any other track. It came across clearly through the rumble, the controller rumble. Oh, and there goes Slipstream hard up into the wall. No damage turned on here during qualifying, so Slipstream can still make the most out of this. There's slow motion fire back behind him. Let's go up to IPR Wolf. But yeah, I mean, I remember and that was my introduction to the Nürburgring GP, and I was like, oh my gosh. Hit the brakes, and then the track felt like a, what is it called? A washboard. A washboard effect. And it was tricky. It was fun. It was just tricky. It was something new. And then when it carried over to Forza Motorsport 4, I think they ironed some of that out, almost quite literally ironed some of those wrinkles out of the track. IPR Wolf now through the first carousel. With Audrex back behind him. Back to Slipstream. Civic Element said, did a race with Forza Motorsport 4 at the GP Club circuit, and yes, where the track was cut short, it basically fell out from under you at a turn. Very bumpy. Yeah, that too, which is kind of why I miss the short circuit, because you had one of those layouts where it was like the bottom just dropped out of your car when you cut through the midfield section of the track, of the GP circuit. I really wish some of those short circuits were back in Forza Motorsport, because for slower cars like the Pontiac Solstice GXP, while the GP circuit as a whole is a brilliant track, I would love a shorter circuit for some of those slower cars or lower performing cars. Not only that, but more variety of track layouts is just great. And I can't imagine it eats up that much more space, but I guess maybe with lap times that get recorded and all that, it can be. But some of those shorter tracks at the GP were nice ones. They were good. At least from what I can remember. Maybe that's just nostalgia. But I felt like they weren't too bad. And if I remember correctly, where it has you cut the track is just after the Schumacher S. And there goes Slipstream once again. Slipstream is just having one heck of a time here at the Nordschleife. This track will do this to you. You make a mistake, and then you just continue to make mistakes. And there goes, who's that behind Cratrim in 10th? That's Kuda. Kuda going to do a good, nice little slide job there coming out of that right-hander. And now up the hill as they head toward the second carousel here on the track. The Nürburgring GP secretly a rallycross circuit in Forza Motorsport 3, apparently. Apparently so. Will we get rallycross in the next motorsport title? That's a question. That's a question to be answered. Will we see some purposeful off-roading action in the next motorsport title? And I know some people have actually taken the FRR version of Virginia International Raceway, because it takes all those tire walls off the track when you enable FRR. There have been some folks who have actually created a rallycross track with VAR with FRR enabled. It's actually quite spectacular. The only downside is that it's really hard to keep track of who's keeping on the modified track area and who's maybe taking advantage of some of the tarmac spots. But will Rallycross show up in the next motorsport title? Because a lot of the cars that we've been given, like, they just beg to have a little bit of off-road to them. Not talking like serious off-roading that it just completely redefines the motorsport title, but enough of an implementation to it that is akin to iRacing and what they've done with Rallycross, or even Project Cars too. And now here comes Funtang and Kuda down the long back straightaway. Dottinger, before you hit the brakes here and get ready for what I call, because a lot of these German names are just way too complicated for my tongue to handle, I'm going to call this the Texas two-step spot, because you just weave the car side to side. You're carrying a pretty good amount of speed, although Kuda is struggling a little bit there in the Michelin car. And then back toward the start-finish line for the conclusion of qualifying out here at the Nordschleife of the Green Hell. And we'll take a look at those times. Up there at 8:44, so yeah, they did quite well. I was thinking 9 or 10, and then I even brought that down to 8, and sure enough, here we see a lot of cars from 8:45 to 9 minutes. Respectable times. Dirt Rally 2 free on PS4, best rally game yet. And Corona Vera, it's not just free on PS4, but also you can play Dirt Rally 2 with the Xbox Game Pass. Both just the Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, then you can play Dirt Rally 2 on PC, which I might be planning to do one of these Wildcard Wednesdays. Here comes Graham to get back toward the start-finish line, concluding qualifying here at the Nordschleife before we get ready for 4 laps, 4 megalithic laps. It's also like perpetually on sale since redacted as heck. Yeah, but I really encourage you guys, if you don't know the deal, the bargain that is the Xbox Game Pass, I highly encourage you to look into it, especially if you've got a PC, because then you can get the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which will give you access to titles both on the Xbox and the PC. Then, of course, you've got your Xbox Live membership for the console. And it's a great program. I hope that they don't change anything about it and keep with its format. They're rolling out new titles every few weeks that get added to the library. Of course, some drop off, but you'll get some. Hector Arcady? Hector Arcady with the follow. Thank you very much, sir or ma'am. Welcome to Virtual Autosports. And as we run through the times here, Audrex with an 8:05.444. IPR Wolf, 10 seconds behind. 8:10. Excuse me, 5 seconds behind. 8:10.718. AMS Udakan. Going to pick up a dirty lap. So that's going to put Udakan at the back of the pack. This might be, you guys might be watching the onset of the streak coming to an end. Trying to go for 6 straight is Udakan. Now going to be at the back of the pack, is going to have to make his way up through the field. Hoot Wills with an 8:10.410. Megan Chin at an 8:29.805. Okus at an 8:12. Fear the Fun also with a dirty lap, an 8:15.693. Corbin with an 8:01.284. What a blistering time there by Corbin. I think that's going to be the pole sitting position. Yep. Sure enough, it is. CMB Slipstream at a 8:28.112. Carbon's going to be in P2, opposite there of Corbin on row 1 with an 8:32. Actually, hold on. 8:01.530. Then it's an 8:32.796 for Slow Motion Fire. Cratrim with an 8:06.505. Funtang at an 8:13.398. 8:28.552 for Kuda. 8:09.849 for Maverick. Borna's Ghost with an 8:28. Chaos Fox with an 8:15. 8:53 for D-Fire. 8:58 for Grim. And a 9:01 for Modern Weapon. That's your qualifying times ahead of 4 laps out here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And turning over to the driver interview section, they're all saving it up. Okay, I'll say it now that we'll probably have like 4 or 5 drivers join the interview section following the second race of the evening. They're just waiting to come chat with me here after both of the races have concluded, which is all good, but we like to get every once in a while somebody in here in between races. Sturvin 5 with the follow. Thank you, Sturvin. Slow Motion Fire, let's hope the internet keeps it together. Yeah, I know, because this is one of those races. Although the 4 laps in total is the equivalent of a normal Forza Spec Racing Series race, but it just seems longer because you're out there for one single lap for much, much longer. Like 4 times as long as any other lap elsewhere, if not almost 5 times as long. But of course, we always want the internet gods to be in our favor here in Forza Motorsport. And after that little hiccup there during qualifying, hopefully that was the worst of it. Let's see. Udakan saying Send Central. Yes, folks, if you're tuning in, this might be, even though Udakan is lined up nicely for the championship here in season number 33, you could be getting ready to see the end of the streak. Trying to go 6 straight in a row here in season 33. But is going to be toward the tail end of the pack after dirtying the lap there during qualifying. 20 cars out here on the track. Hopefully all 20 will stay. Let's go ahead and bring in Slow Motion Fiber. Slow Motion Fiber. That's going to be your new name. Welcome, Slow Motion Fire. The internet gremlins have reared their head, but now we're getting ready for 4 laps around the Nordschleife. Hopefully that stays intact, but maybe for a lot of drivers, hopefully their car stays intact.
We're just running fuel and tire damage on this one tonight since it's such a long way around to pit road.
Long way to the pit lane, so just the tire and wheel degradation throughout this race, nothing to the mechanical bits. I'm trying to remember, somebody had mentioned either in our chat or during one of our driver interviews that they were glad that you kept with or permitted the Nordschleife, but anytime that this track comes up as one of the picks, how do you feel about that?
I think the Green Hell is the perfect name for it. I absolutely hate this track.
And now we see – okay, actually, before I go to that question, let me say that this season has just been a nuisance, it appears, to you with a string of disconnects and then just some performances that you're probably not proud of. This is one that you're probably ready to get done and over with and head into the next one, I'm guessing.
I'm just having some hardware issue. I moved house, and I'm having some hardware issue, and I'm just fighting it and can't get it tracked down. So one of these days I'll get it squared away.
Earlier in the season here, I think it was maybe last week, week number 2, I said that so long as I've been broadcasting these Forza Spec Racing Series events, there has not been a driver who has done a clean sweep of the season. Now here we are with Udakan, 5 wins in a row, trying to go for 6, but now has to work his way up through the field. It's going to be a tricky proposition. Are you as anxious and excited to see somebody sweep the season as I am, or is this just a thing that I have and everybody else is tired of it?
I'm so close in a couple seasons that it's just one of those things, like somebody has to do it at some point. You know, the tension just keeps building. So we'll see what he can get done tonight. He, like you said, he's got to work through the field, and there's some of us that put down some clean laps. Myself, one of those that had qualified way higher than they deserved to be. So we'll see how that plays out.
Talking with Slow Motion Fire, who organizes things here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, 33 seasons, which dates back to the Forza Motorsport 4 days. They've been doing this a long time, so if you guys are looking for a well-established community league that has everything in place, check them out, reddit.com/r/FM4. Slow Motion Fire, my last question for you here. The Pontiac Solstice, you told me, you sent me a message before this season got kicked off saying, hey, practice looked really good, everything was really close. That seems to have been the case for the most part. We've had a few races that have been not as competitive as others, but all in all, the GXP has shown up nicely here in the season.
This has been a fun car. People are liking it. It's provided some really close racing all throughout the pack. It's going to be hard to top this one, but we'll see what shows up next.
All right, fingers crossed, knock on wood and all that the internet connection holds up. We'll see how things go here. 4 laps around the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
I'm looking forward to it.
He says that, but he said that he hates this track or he loathes it. So I don't know how much of that was tongue-in-cheek there as we get ready to go racing out here at the 12.93-mile track, the longest circuit here in Forza Motorsport 7. I think the only track that's longer than this in the real world is the Isle of Man TT course, right? Isle of Man is the only other track that outperforms this one in terms of mileage. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Pikes Peak is this close, right? Oops, sorry. Spectate. There we go. Carry out saying yes. So, apart from Isle of Man, Nürburgring at 12.93 miles is the longest track, and looks like Kobaya is going to join the mix here and actually jumps out. Was in, then left. Redacted as heck saying Pikes Peak is about the same amount of turns. Yeah, that's true. All the switchbacks that you have on the mountain climb. Obviously, today's Pike Peak not the same as Pikes Peak of yesteryear when it was all off-road circuit, but still very complicated track. Much like this road course here of the Nordschleife. Here we go. It's still going to be fun going up, or it's still fun going up, says Dino Data. Yeah, I have no doubt about that. Does Dirt 2... I'm trying to think, is there a modern representation of Pikes Peak in any title right now? I feel like Gran Turismo apparently has some sort of licensing, but hasn't done anything with it that we know of. Maybe they're preparing something for the next Gran Turismo title, but they haven't shown any signs of it yet. On Rally 1.0. Okay, so on the first Dirt Rally game. And here they go. Kick the tires, light the fires. Race number 6 here in season number 33. The Forza Spec Racing Series is underway at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Hold on, folks. This is going to be a heck of a ride. Just 4 laps, so it's going to be about the same amount of distance traveled as any other Forza Spec Racing Series race, but obviously it's a whole different feel going around a massive circuit like this. And let's go back to Megachin here in 7th position, who's currently holding up Udakan. Udakan, who's going to have to plow up through the field to try to keep things intact as far as the winning streak goes. Otherwise, it'll come to a conclusion here on the back half. Yes, we've concluded one half here of season 33. This race starting the back half. A week from tonight, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and there goes Wolf, or actually Megachin. Megachin up into the wall and is going to grab Hoot Wheels. Fortunately, there's no damage here to the vehicle for this race. They only have it set to tire degradation and fuel depletion. But it looks like Wolf is going to be at least the first major, or Megachin. I don't know why I keep getting those two mixed up, but Megachin is going to be the first major casualty in this race, dropping back now to 20th position as we take a look at that incident there on the Virtual Autosport Rewind. Got pressured there by Udakan, and it was just too much to bear up into the tire wall and spun around. Back up here to Chaos Fox in 13th position, who's behind Funtang in 12th, Modern Weapon in 11th, Hoot Wheels is there in 10th. Maybe going to make something here of the Nürburgring races, Hoot Wheels. Fear the Fun in 9th, Maverick in 8th, Udakan in 7th. Let's go to Udakan, who's making quick work here of, oh no. And I think we've lost somebody. Was that Slow Motion Fire again? Or maybe it was, maybe Megachin was... Nope, Megachin is still out there on the track, and so is Slow Motion Fire. So who did we lose? I missed it. Maybe we didn't lose anybody. Maybe it was just a hiccup. Carbon in 2nd position. Let's go ahead and go up to this battle here for first. Carbon back behind SGR Corvid. Corvid, who had the pole position with Carbon in 2nd as they carve their way here on the back half of the Nürburgring, and this a beautiful section of the track as well. I mean, you kind of see these valley areas and then There's some of these residential zones here off trackside. And I really love this time of day setting here at the Nürburgring. I think it's one of the more brilliant looking setups. So you can get the typical Forza Motorsport 7 dreariness where it's kind of overcast and doesn't look real good. And here comes Carvin making a move there on Corvid. And at least for right now, we've got a new race leader halfway through lap number 1. Hoop barely got around that, says Redacted, referring to Megachin's off there, I think. And now Corvid is going to reclaim first position. And we'll look at that exchange here on the Virtual Autosport Rewind. There goes Carbon for first. And then they'll do a little switcheroo. Behind Carbon is Cratrium. Audrex having a stellar run right now in 4th. IPR Wolf in 5th. Udakan now up to 6th with Maverick in 7th. Fear the Fun. Hoot Wheels in 9th. Funtang is 10th. Chaos Fox in 11th position. Slipstream in 12th. Born as Ghost. Modern Weapon. Kuda. Hocus. Fire. Megachin. Slow Motion Fire. And Grim. So all 20 drivers still out there on the track. And yes, like I said, knock on wood and hope everything is in our favor for a complete race by all drivers. That way everybody can get the most points possible of their position. And then we'll head into week number 4, our final week of 2 races there at the Silverstone International Circuit with a little bit of rain and then VIR. All of that ahead of the first and only fantasy track of season number 33 being Prague, the short circuit for 69 laps and the finale in week number 5. Now that it's been a few months, ready for another 24-hour-long broadcast. Nope, not doing it. That was the one and only. That went as well as I could have hoped. The only thing that I wish was a little bit better about that Daytona 24-hour broadcast was my setup. I had way too much put into that broadcast that bogged down the stream, bogged down OBS, and that's the only thing I regret about that broadcast. Apart from that, I was as energized as I could have hoped, and I don't think I could repeat it. So, no more 24 hours. Not going to do it. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll broadcast a portion of a 24-hour race, but never a 24-hour stream again. Actually, let me say it's a never say never thing. The only way that I would do another 24-hour broadcast is if we had a total of 100 subscribers, and that is not a call for subscribers. That's just telling me me telling you what it would take for us to get there, and then even then, I think that would be money not well spent, because if we got 100 subscribers just to do a 24-hour broadcast, the 24-hour broadcasts are just not all that fantastic. You're the commentator, myself, I lose my energy, I lose my focus, and it just becomes a discombobulated mess. That would not be money well spent. Udakan now up to 5th position with the move there on IPR Wolf. We just caught the back half of that one. So let's hang out here with Udakan now, closing in on Audrex, and quickly is going to be making a case for first, I fear. I like I said, I want to see somebody sweep a season, but at the same time, it's like, well, gosh, we want to spread the love in terms of win. We want somebody else to have a shot at it. We don't want one driver just dominating the season, but at the same time, it would be a feat that we have not yet seen here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, at least for as long as I've been broadcasting them. And so to at least say that check that one off, one driver to win all 9 races has been accomplished would be cool. It's just throughout the stint of a season, it's like, somebody else should win this one. Storm says, just wait until the next 24-hour comes around. No, it's not going to happen. I don't know that I've explicitly told the Toro folks, but if any of them are listening, let this be my formal not going to do it. And there goes, that looks like Carbon now getting off pace, dropping back to 5th, allowing Udakan now to move up to 4th. Audrex in 3rd. And so now we're going to ride on board there a little bit with Udakan, but let's see what happened if we can't catch it here on the Virtual Autosport Rewind. What happened to Carbon? Only falling back 1 or 2 positions, but, or maybe make that 3 positions. As you see Carbon in front of Audrex there in the foreground before the camera closes in on Udakan, then Udakan scooting around there, Carbon, after the mistake. And so now let's see what happens with Carbon trying to get back up into a podium spot. It's Corvette out in front with Cratrim, who's not even really near first place. As a matter of fact, can't even see him. Corvette is running solo, and he's got to make the most of this here on lap number 2. Really, you're in a hot lap mentality at this point, because you know the more seconds that you can put between you and Udakan, the better off you're going to be, because he will reel some of that in. He'll eat away at that time over the next 2.5 laps. So you've got to make the most of this now and hope that maybe Cratrim can hold him off a little bit, as Udakan now has already gotten around Audrex. And so let's go to Udakan here, as he next has Cratrim on the menu. Can I amend my prediction to Udakan finishing 2nd now and not 3rd? I didn't even see that, Storm, but sure, you could amend it. But don't be so quick, because as I was about to say, if Udakan makes a mistake, he can fall back and then have to come back up through the field again. And just like that, knocks out the rear, or not the rear, well, actually both the rear and the front right-hand tail and headlamps on the Solstice, jarring the front bumper. Again, there's no damage. They've taken the mechanical and aero damage off for this race. It is only tire degradation and fuel depletion. There is a pit stop here on the Nordschleife, of course, but just because it's such a massive race, or a massive track, and this is not one of your more top-tier serious leagues, they wanted to be more accessible here with the Nordschleife, and so if you get up into the wall, you're not going to damage your mechanical bits. And Udakan now recovering and chasing down Cratrim. Downhill again, one of my favorite parts of the Nordschleife here. You get nice little haze. I mean, this setting is beautiful. There's other setting, or at least one other setting of this track that's not as good looking. This is the more attractive of the two. Go on, Foon, says Sir Mighty. And Foon is one of those drivers that I'd love to keep a camera on throughout a race. Currently running in 11th. It's just, he's kind of all over. I mean, he's got some tracks that he does really, really good at, and then others that not so hot. One of the drivers who's more eligible than not for a hard charger award usually picks up several, if not a handful of positions after qualifying, but just doesn't really crack the top 10 all that often that we can get a camera placed on him. And speaking of getting a camera placed on somebody, I'm going to keep it on Udakan here, and I got to take a quick little bio break. You guys are watching the 6th race of Season 33 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm Dustin Moore. This is the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and this is Udakan making a run at Cratrim for the 6th straight win here in Season 33. If he can pull it out, we'll see. I'll be right back. And I am rejoining you all here on the broadcast, Twitch TV Virtual Auto Sports, race number 6 of season 33, as we see Udakan closing in here on second position, which is currently occupied by Cratrium. We saw Carbon fall back last lap and is now off the pace, running in 4th position. We'll see if he's going to be able to catch up, and if Cratrium can hold off Udakan, maybe that'll really give Corvid the run that he needs to finally take a win away from our leaderboard driver, our top of the leaderboard driver of Udakan, who, like I mentioned, is trying to go 6 in a row. There has not been a driver, as Slow Motion Fire pointed out there in our driver spotlight prior to this event, there's not been a driver who has swept all 9 races of a Forza Spec Racing Series, although drivers have gotten very, very close. Actually, we saw, I believe it was, who was that? I'm trying to remember who it was that almost did it, and then we had somebody come in off the bench for the finale and prevent that driver from getting the golden broom for the sweep. It may come to me. It may not. But needless to say, nobody's done it. And so Udakan here on lap number 2 of 4, and make this the back half of lap number 2. Trying to push up toward the front. And you can see there, here on the long Dottinger straight, Corvid a speck up ahead. Now we look back behind Udakan with Carbon in 4th, Audrex in 5th, IPR Wolf in 6th. Fear the Fun is up to 7th, doing a great job himself. Chaos Fox in 8th. Hoot Wheels is running in 9th. Foontang in 10th. And I was saying Foontang sometimes struggles to crack the top 10, but has done so, at least for right now. And so if we can get a camera here on Foontang in a little bit, we will. But right now, we're going to hang tight here as Cratrim has Udakan right there on the back bumper. Now here comes Udakan looking to the inside through the final left-hander before they hit the right-hander past the GP circuit. They're going to wave goodbye to that one and across the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 3. Forza has no slipstream, says Coronavera. It does. It just depends on what car you're driving. There goes Udakan off the track. And fortunately, because the damage to the vehicle's mechanical bits and the aero has been taken off, Udakan is not going to sustain anything that's going to keep him from getting back up there, but now has fallen back a couple of seconds more, not only to Cratrim, but our race leader of Corvid. And Corvid, I'm not sure if he's paying attention to what's happening behind him. He's probably better off not to, but now things are favoring him at this point. And let's see if Udakan starts to drive like a madman. And oftentimes that in itself starts to result in more miscues. You start to drive harder, trying to eke out every second possible. And next thing you know, you're finding yourself off track once again. We'll see if that's the case with Udakan, or if he's a lot more composed than I'm suggesting here. My guess is probably, but you just never know, especially somebody who is trying to make it 3 for 3. That's 3 weeks with 2 wins. That's a tricky thing to do, even in this league. As now we take a look at Carbon, who sees Udakan out in front of him. Corbin, a solid, I don't know if I had to guesstimate here, maybe a good 5 or 6 seconds out in front of Cratrium. Maybe our ticker will tell us here eventually. All 20 drivers still out there on the track. This after we had a complete lobby disconnect during qualifying. Crimson saying 8-second lead there for Corbin. Let's go back to Carbon. And that one not as close. So IPR Wolf in 6th, Fear the Fun in 7th, Hoot Wheels in 8th, DTR Maverick, and then Futang. And he has cracked the top 10 right now in that NVIDIA car. Let's go to it. He's got Maverick, DTR Maverick, out in front. Hoot Wheels has now grabbed another position after getting around Maverick. And so Hoot Wheels trying to find a positive in what has been a stormy season number 33 for her. able to get close to the top 10 on the leaderboard, but after a 15th place finish at Road Atlanta, not looking so good coming out of week 3. But who knows, with a top 10, top 8, maybe even top 6 if she can make it happen, that could turn things around. Glove slap. Welcome to the broadcast. Rip other headlight. Yeah, a lot of the headlamps are out. You see there on Funtang's car, no headlamps, no more tail lamps. Maverick holding on to one headlamp. Hoot Wheels has knocked all of hers out. Back to third. And now Udakan just made a move around Cratrim, and so here it begins. The charge toward the front with about a lap and a little less than a half remaining here. The 5th lap that you see in the upper left-hand corner, just a cool-down lap, so we only will race to the finish of the fourth lap. Here onto the back end of the Nordschleife, a very complex string before you get ready for the first carousel. The first of 2. Which I always have a great entry into the carousel, and then the thing just ejects me a little bit more than halfway through. I never keep the speed good enough to stay on the banked corner. It always throws me up onto the top end. Let's see what happens here with Udakan. Going to keep it on the low line. Right up onto that low white line, and then ejects much later up into the wall. Again, fortunately, no aero or mechanical damage here in this race. That's going to save Udakan big time coming out of that first carousel and going to be able to bring it back up to pace. But has his work cut out for him here as he slides it, power slides it. Now here comes Cratrim, who might try to take it back. It's going to be very difficult to pass, of course. On this 12.93 mile circuit, I don't know if we were to approximate, what, 2.5, 3 miles of viable passing space? You don't have a lot of it. Obviously, if the car goes off into the green, into the grass, then that gives you all the asphalt to work with. But if they do what Udakan there did and just kind of they occupy the racing surface, well, there's not really much room to work with. They kind of just generally slow you up is what happens. Everybody gets slowed down. Get the accordion effect going. Cratrim in third. Carbon is in fourth after having dropped back a couple of positions on the back half of lap number 1. Audrex in fifth. Wolf in sixth. Fear the Fun is still riding in seventh with Hoot Wheels in eighth position. DTR Maverick in ninth. Funtang in 10th. 11th is with Chaos Fox right now. Slipstream in 12th. Kuda, Hocus, Bornus Ghost, Mega Chin, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Grim, and D-Fire are 13th through 20th. Let's go to Hoot Wheels in 8th. Let's see if she's going to be able to close the gap here with Fear the Fun. And Fear the Fun, not even in the picture there, although I think I did make him out a little bit on that last camera angle. And we might see here if the camera rotates around the car. Nice little action shot, but not a very realistic shot to give us a view of the racing. Let's see here as we peek ahead, and nope, even out of the second carousel, Fear the Fun is already departed. Now down the Dottinger Straight they go for the penultimate time. Next time past the start-finish line for Corvid will be the white flag, and then everybody else will follow. In second is Udakan, third is Cratrim, Carbon in fourth, Audrex in fifth, and Audrex is closing in here on Carbon. Duct tape gang, duct tape gang, duct tape gang, says Redacted as heck. Rooting for Hoot. Yeah, everybody's gonna need to lift their front bumper up a little bit with some duct tape after this one's over. Of course, you can just throw it onto the garage and magically everything will get repaired here in the virtual world. Would you guys like to see some sort of credit penalty system for damage to your vehicle in races to help to be one more? Like, I know a lot of people, they don't care about the credits, but if you know, like, that you have to pay every time, and maybe if you're paying more than you're making, then you've got to race a little bit cleaner. Obviously, I think a lot of people would love to see just a penalty system in general, but in addition to a track penalty system, would you love to see a repair penalty system that maybe is just one more incentive for you to keep the nose of your car clean? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. I'm guessing that's not going to be a wildly popular suggestion, but while we've got you all here for the next, 10 minutes, as we conclude things out here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, I thought I'd float that question. Hopefully it doesn't just float on into the ether. Rammers would definitely have a field day with that one. Yeah, that's true. You see somebody you don't like, and you're like, oh, yeah, let me cause 50,000 credits worth of damage to their car. Make them have to foot the bill for that one. Or if with a combination of a track-based penalty system and a damage-based penalty system, if the system is able to determine that you were the cause of the damage, that you then have to pay for the other car's damage. How about that? Redacted as heck says, I think cost of repairs is a nice touch. Dirt does it, but the penalties come in the form of if you go over the allotted repair time. Yeah, exactly. Like if you could do so many repairs, but if you do more than what's allotted, then it starts to impact your overall time. And obviously that's point-to-point racing, rally racing, so they tack it on to the end of your time, but they could do the same for circuit-based racing, where it's like, okay, well, you had X number of repairs, and a portion of those went beyond the allottable scope, and therefore you now have a second added to your time. I don't know. A lot of these things probably are not what most folks would prefer. They would prefer just a very well-designed, well-implemented penalty system, track-based penalty system. But if there's other ways to mitigate reckless behavior, I think it would be worth checking out. And what would be really cool is an assortment of penalty systems that you could then toggle on or off for hosted races. Maybe they're not something that are thrown into the multiplayer lobby, because then that's just, you're really, obviously Turn 10 would love for as many people to continue playing the game as possible, and if you discourage them from playing, and oh no, hopefully not everybody got disconnected. We lost someone. We had to have lost somebody on that one. Yep, slow motion fire once again, and defire. A twofer. And so fortunately our race leader of Corbin still out there on the track, as now halfway complete here of our final lap. We're staying with Udakan to see if he's going to be able to close the gap here on the back half. And actually, let's go ahead and switch real quick. Let's go to Carbon in fourth, who's got Cratrium out in front of him. A couple of orange and black cars here, not the same livery, however. Hoot Wheels saying no, just no, and Hoot Wheels. Did Hoot Wheels disconnect as well? I don't see Hoot Wheels. I thought it was D-Fire that I saw who got disconnected, but no, it was Hoot Wheels and Soul Motion Fire. Wow. Here to support Larry, a.k.a. Kuda93. Woot Woot says, Bikuntsman, welcome. And glad to have another viewer here who's part of the cheering section of one of our drivers. That's the coolest part, at least for me as the broadcaster, is seeing other folks. And thank you for that follow, by the way. seeing others who are showing up to the broadcast to root on a driver or somebody that they know in the community. That's great. I love that. Corvid and Udakan are now through the first carousel. And actually, I spoke too soon because I think... Nope, actually, he is, in fact, out of the first carousel. Yeah, Coronavirus saying, yikes, Forza, it's not been a good... They had some server issues over the weekend, and I don't know if these connectivity problems are connected. Obviously, we usually have, like, a driver who disconnects from each race, which is just annoying and it's sad, but I should say disappointing, not necessarily sad. It's disappointing. And it looks like we might be back. Here comes Carbon, who's made a move around crate trim here for third position. Carbon back into a podium spot as Corvid now getting out onto the Dottinger straight. He's got Udakan back behind him, but I think as long as Corvid can maintain his car on the track and not get it spun around, should be good to put an end to the racing win streak, or the winning streak here of Udakan in Season 33 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. Is going to fall one spot short of 6 in a row. And so let's go ahead and put the camera here on Corvid. The concentration, composure, keeping it on the track is of utmost performance or importance at this point. And yes, welcome back there after that little hiccup. We didn't have it here on the Forza side, so it was all my connection with Twitch. But we have recovered, and so here through the final couple of corners, the Texas two-step, as I call it, nowhere near the Lone Star State here in Germany. But Corvid is making it look as clean as can be. Into the final corner, the right-hander toward the start-finish line. And Corvid is going to be your winner here in race number 6 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33, putting an end to Udakan's race-winning streak. It ends at 5. Udakan comes across in second. Carbon now looking to claim third with crate trim back there in fourth position. Crate trim is off into the tire wall. That's going to allow Audrux to claim fourth. Crate trim now will go into fifth position if he can hold off Wolf. He does. Wolf just barely misses out on a top 5. Will finish in 6th. Fear the Fun grabs 7th, and Wolf says, hey, I had that one there. Crate trim punts him off the track. Let's go to Maverick here in 9th. And DWM Frog saying, congratulations, Corvid. And here comes the flex tape car of Maverick, 9th position. Chaos Fox is going to grab 10th, which means, unfortunately, well, Hoot Wheels we already knew because she had the disconnect. Foontank is going to grab 8th. Slipstream is 11th. Let's go to Kuda. Kuda doing quite well here in race number 12. Race number 12. In position 12. Only his or her second race here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. There you go. Kuda finishing out in front of DOR Hocus, Born as Ghost, and Mega Chen. Let's go to 15th. Mega Chen. Crimson saying, I didn't deserve it. No, I think you did. You did. You had a nice, clean lap there during qualifying. You most certainly did. Mega Chen, 15th. And let's see, I don't know if these guys are going to race to the finish line, but we've got Modern Weapon in 16th, D-Fire in 17th position. And so just like that, an opportunity to hand out the Golden Broom is stifled. Another season where a driver who looked like they might get the sweep, the 9-race sweep. It comes to an end, a screeching halt with 5, short of 6, thanks to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Here comes D-Fire in 17th position. Down Dautinger and up to the left-hander, right-hander, left-hander, right-hander, right-hander. Or something to that effect. Good racing. It obviously not one of our closer weeks. Closeness of the competitors, particularly in the top 3. But a great duo of races nonetheless. We do have one more week where we've got a duo, a race, an event duo of Silverstone International Circuit and BIR Full Circuit. That's a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Virtual Autosports. For those of you that are watching that have been tuned in for tonight's action, we hope to see you again here in about a week's time. We're going to go ahead and join our drivers some of them in our driver's spotlight, whoever decides to hop on in here at the conclusion of this race. I'm going to go ahead and take note of where everybody finished. And in the meantime, I'm going to run some ads. You won't miss anything. They're going to do what they need to do behind the scenes to ensure they capture everybody's position. Then we'll be right back to talk about how that race was and even the first race out at Road Atlanta, because we haven't had anybody except for Slow Motion Fire join us in the driver's spotlight. We'll talk about those 2 events, what's ahead for week number 5, what's ahead for the channel here starting April 17th through the 23rd. Lots of racing action coming to you here over the course of the next 10 days starting on Friday. And you can be a part of it, and I encourage you to be a part of it because we got some awesome events lined up. All that and more right after the break here. Virtual Autosports, I'm Dustin Moore. This is the Forza Spec Racing Series here on Twitch TV. Holy smokes, the disconnects are real today here on Twitch. Our second one here in the span of, 30 minutes? Maybe even less than that. 10 minutes. Welcome back, folks. Virtual Autosports here live on Twitch TV as we've wrapped up week number 3. We are at the second half of the season, actually beyond it at this point, or beyond the midway point, and getting into week number 4 a week from tonight, which is just 2 races in that week, followed by the finale in week number 5. So just 3 left here on the schedule before we see who our champion is. And right now it's Udakan who's lined up nicely for it. But the driver who's put an end to the winning streak for AMS Udakan is going to be none other than Corvid, who joins us here, SGR Corvid, in the driver's spotlight. You said in the pit lane, our Twitch chat, that this is not a deserved victory, but you had a blistering clean time there in qualifying, and then were able to hold on to it as Udakan tried to charge up toward the front there on the last lap.
Yeah, definitely. But Huracan was putting down sub 8 minutes, and I'm just not capable of that kind of pace here. I just kind of lucked into the one-shot qualifying playing into my favor, and it just kind of, with the traffic he had to deal with and me being out front the whole time, it just kind of fell in my lap here.
Fell in your lap. It's a very humble way of saying it. I don't know that anything falls in anybody's lap out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. At what point there on lap number 4 did you think, or even before lap 4, if it was the case, did you think in your head, okay, I can do this, I've got this?
After I crossed the line.
Not until then.
Yeah, it's like I said, if it was just a pure pace battle, Huracan would have handed it to me here. There's no doubt about that. So it was just a factor of luck and how the race ended up playing out that gave this to me.
Oh man, you're taking this a lot more lightly than I would. I'd be like ecstatic. I'd be like, man, yep, no, that was me. I did great in qualifying and I won the race, but very very humble about it. But I don't know if you're not saying that you were thinking at any point there before the start finish line that you were able to secure this win. What is your mentality though in that final lap? You're out in front, so obviously you know that much. Are you looking at all? Do you have the UI showing you the split between you and your the drivers behind you, or are you not even looking at that point and just staying focused to the 30, 40 corners that there are here at the Nordschleife?
I play with full UI, so it's there. I around here I never really get a chance to check it, otherwise I'm gonna put myself in a wall. I thought maybe he had gained 3 or 4 seconds, but he actually gained 7 or more seconds on me in that last lap. So if there was any more time to this race, he would have ended up taking the win here.
You picked up the third place finish out there at Road Atlanta behind Carbon, who finished second. So this should help you in terms of points. Obviously, with you and Carbon tied coming into week number 3 at 92 points in total, this will be interesting because, let's see, Carbon, I believe, finished third out here at the Nordschleife. So you guys swapped second and third. Well, actually, no, you pick up a win. So I think you'll have the advantage here going into week number 4. I don't know. Obviously, we'll work out the mathematics as we go through the next couple of weeks, but any shot, at least in your mind, that you can come away as the champion despite Udakan's dominance through the first 5 races?
It's going to be difficult. I'm not going to let up by any means, but it's definitely going to be a mountain that's going to need to be climbed.
And then Silverstone in the wet. We've heard drivers talk about how surprisingly grippy this Pontiac Solstice was when they began the season. But what are you expecting things when we have a little bit of moderate rain there to start things off out the international circuit of Silverstone?
So these have treaded tires, so it shouldn't be as bad as some of the full-born race cars that are in the game. We should have at least some semblance of grip around there through the puddles, which are pretty horrendous at Silverstone. So that'll be something to watch out for, definitely. But yeah, it's just going to be taking it as it comes with the conditions we're going to have and just trying to keep it together, keep it on track.
Try to keep it together, and you said it'll be something to watch. We'll definitely be watching. Corvid, congratulations putting the streak to an end here in race number 6. We'll see you in week 4.
Thank you.
All right, and let's go to D.O.R. Hocus. Oh, if I can butcher that gamer tag anymore. I didn't get a chance to record your finish out here at the Nordschleife before things got a little bit shuffled up with drivers 13th. Going ahead and doing a final lap. Where did you finish?
13th.
13th?
I think.
How do you feel about that? Just outside the top 10
horrible. There. It was horrible. My race was over third turn, first lap. Went a little too deep, went in the grass, spun it around, waited on everybody to pass before I could get back on the track. So my race was over first lap.
You say it was over first lap. Obviously, 12.93 miles of track to go. There was no aero or mechanical damage set for this race. So did you at least have the mindset, okay, let me get this car back pointed in the right direction and make a run at it? And obviously you had to have gathered a few spots back to make it up to 13th.
Oh, yeah. I just went full send for the rest of the race and tried to get as much positions as I possibly could.
Talking with D.O.R. Hocus here in the driver's spotlight. You had 17th position locked up on the leaderboard with 33 points entering week number 3. We'll see what the total looks like coming out of week number 3, heading into week 4. Silverstone and VIR are on the schedule here for a week from tonight. Which track are you loving, and which track do you hate of those two?
Oh, I love Silverstone. I can't stand VIR.
Gonna be mowing the grass a little bit for them out at the VIR?
Oh yeah. I will be repping the John Deere livery.
Repping the John Deere livery. Okay, switch it up there on the car. And as far as points, we didn't see Derek out on the track here in week number 3. Salty Bonkos was not out here. Same could be said for Phantom. So you may move up a few spots. Where would you like to finish when season 33 is all said and done?
If I can make it anywhere close to the top 10, I would love it. But with this car, I don't think that'll happen.
Interesting. Okay, another driver aspiring for the top 10, much like Hoot Wills, who we talked to last week. D.R. Hocus will obviously be watching you as you head out to Silverstone, saying that you love that track. We'll see what the rain does to you, though.
These tires, the ones that we're on, are actually fairly grippy in the wet. I practiced on it a little bit to see how the wet would be, and it's not that bad.
Good. You and Corbett having the same comment there as far as the tire is very consistent there. So we expect that to be the case then, and hopefully maybe you can show up even stronger there in week number 4.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
All right, let's bring in Kuda. Kuda racing for the first time here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, or at least based off of the number board that you had on the side of your car. Is that in fact the case? This being the first time that you've shown up here in FM4.
The first time in a long time. I actually raced a couple of weeks back in the Veloster series.
Okay. So they relegated you to an orange board either way.
Yeah, in quite a few seasons, I felt it was warranted.
What had you coming back here with the Pontiac Solstice GXP?
Just wanting to get back into league racing. Used to do it a lot. And then got busy with work, and now not quite as busy for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. But remembered Slow Motion Fire, and found you guys in the forums, and just joined up. Did okay for about 24 hours notice. I built the car late last night. The only practice I had were the practice sessions before the race tonight. So stole a tune off of somebody and just cross my fingers.
And joining here in week 3, so just the very last race of the first half, and then of course if you're here for the remainder of the season, all of the second half, are you kind of treating this as a getting refamiliarized and getting ready for season number 34, hoping that maybe you'll be able to run that full season?
Definitely, yeah.
And if you had your pick, even though you won't, because you won't be the champion here in season 33, but if you had your pick of car going into season 34, what would you love to see be the car of choice?
Well, my car of choice outside of this league is a Camaro ZL1 that I've built up for A-Class. It's what nice. I drive 90% of the time. It's got a IMSA-inspired livery on it that I just really love. So definitely go with something like that.
That would be cool. Udakan, Corvid, let's make that happen there for Kuda. He can hop into the ZL1 and we can see one of the more modern day Corvettes. We haven't seen a modern vehicle in this series, I don't think, in quite some time. Kuda, the next 3 races we have Silverstone, VIR, Prague being the only fantasy circuit here in season number 33. Is there any one of those 3 races where you're thinking, okay, I can excel, and even though I haven't been here for a bulk of the season, I could still move up the leaderboard quite a bit?
I don't know about excel after seeing the caliber of drivers this week, but I am looking forward to VIR. It's a track I really enjoy. I heard the last interview not a huge fan. So everyone has their favorites, though.
That's the line in the sand in the Forza community. You'll find people who really are big-time fans of VIR and then others who are just like, I don't want to see that track ever again, mostly because it shows up a lot in the multiplayer hoppers, but you're a fan.
It does. Yep.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, too, because you said the caliber of drivers that are in season number 33 here. What would you say, based on your experience in the past in running here in the FM4 League, what is the comparison? Is it much more higher caliber now than what has been had in the past, or what are you seeing out there here in season 33?
Oh, there's always, I mean, in the one other one I did, there was a high caliber there as well. There's always the group of drivers that's going to just lay down crazy fast lap times that you wonder how they did it. I have not been in that group yet. I'm usually around mid-pack, so just aspire to get there. Try and get some tips whenever I can.
You've had 2 races, and we're talking with Kuda93 here in the driver's spotlight. You've had 2 races and a little bit of practice time before tonight's events, like you had mentioned. Give us one word, just one word, to describe your experience here in the GXP in season 33.
Competitive.
Nice. I like it.
It's nice. Even when I messed up, I was able to run some people down, and other people were able to run me down. I was never all alone the whole time. There was always something happening. So made the races fly by.
Very cool. The GXP showing hints of its SCCA days back when the Pontiac Solstice ran in a couple of the SCCA leagues, Sports Car Club of America. Kuda93, great chatting with you, and we hope to see you here for the remainder of the season and then on into season 34.
I will do.
All right, and now we got to do it. Let's go talk to the guy who fell just short, one spot shy of a 6th straight win victory, trying to go 3 weeks in a row here with double victories. AMS Udakan. Disappointed or still, I mean, you have to be feeling like I've got the season pretty much on lock as long as I can continue my pace here in the next 2 weeks. But does it disappoint you a little bit that you lost this one here at the Nordschleife?
I would be lying a little if I said I wasn't gutted, but I think I tried to take on a big task coming from 12th to 1st, even on a track like the Nordschleife, with the first sector being so unfriendly for overtakes. It was just, I had to sit in the train to like the 2nd sector that I realized Corvid had like a 20-second gap on me. I was like, this might not be possible anymore.
What part on the qualifying session, because you had a dirty lap like what you said, it put you back in 12th for the start of the race. What part of the track, one, did you make the mistake? And then, of course, at what point did you start seeing what everybody else's times were, knowing how far back you were going to be in the grid? Were you already starting to kind of feel like, oh, man, this thing is out of reach for me, or were you still confident?
I had a good amount of confidence going into the race. I think I made a really good start because I had to rotate my camera slightly just to be able to see Corvid. As soon as I saw a spec move, I was gone. I managed to jump like 3 places before turn 1 itself, which was quite an advantage for me. But yeah, it was quite annoying to say I didn't come away with the win. But I mean, hey, I've got next season to go for now.
I like that mentality. Got to try to make it happen in season 34. Talking with the AMS Udakan, or Huracan, as a lot of you like to call him. You had mentioned there in the Twitch chat, you said you got hold up a little bit with some of the drivers, or held up a little bit as you're trying to make your way up through the field. Obviously, here at the Nordschleife, it's a very difficult thing to do, to get around traffic when you know that you're quicker. Also, maybe a few little mistakes there along the way. So was it more so being held up, that trying to find a way around traffic, or was it some of the mistakes that really put you out of contention there for first?
A couple of the mistakes definitely put me out of contention, I think. I think it was just more the fact of me trying to overdrive, knowing I had to close such a big gap, which was something I need to learn not to do. But, meh. And
then, so any words to the man SGR Corvid, who has gone ahead and ripped out the win from you here? He says that he was lucky with it, but any words that you have for him in his victory?
I got to congratulate him. He didn't put a foot wrong. He was very consistent. I don't think he ever made a mistake, unlike me, but I'll have him next time.
All right. Very good. And next time, being out there at Silverstone, VIR, or any of these tracks more near and dear to your heart versus the Nürburgring?
Silverstone is definitely a good one for me. I mean, even with it being the international layout, having been to this track multiple times in real life, watching the WEC club events there and everything like that, I've got a very good knowledge of the track, so it should be good fun.
All right, we'll see if Udacan can't put it together for the 3 remaining races: the International Circuit of Silverstone, the full circuit of VIR, and then Prague Short there in week number 5. Good chatting with you, and of course you'll be out there at the top of the number at the leaderboard. So I think that'll bring your spirits back up here in week number 4.
Thank you, Dustin.
All right, and let's see. We've got yet another driver. They all come out the woodwork here at the end of the broadcast. Hopefully we'll be able to get them to come in here in between races a little bit more. But now we've got Carbon. Carbon, we were watching you there toward the end, and Kratrium made a mistake there in the last couple of corners, allowing you to move up into a podium spot with Audrex right behind you. Were you feeling, I don't know, when you see a driver having a mistake there at the last part of such a monstrous track, do you kind of like have your own kind of like little celebration internally, or do you kind of think, hey, I can't screw this up either, and you got to be as focused as possible all the way till the start finish line?
Honestly, I wasn't even looking. I was just trying to focus on the track because every lap I bend it straight into the wall. So I wanted to make sure, at least on the last lap, I wasn't going to just throw away third place. So.
Yeah, and you started, I believe, in second position after qualifying. They're opposite of Corvid, and then we saw a little bit of a mistake early on, I think, on the back half of lap number 1, which puts you back into fourth or fifth position, but you were able to get back up there. Obviously, the fact that mechanical or aero damage was not turned on was a big help, but it's one thing to make a mistake, but then to get in the mood of like, okay, I got a lot of time to make this up. Let me make it happen, and of course you do, grabbing at least 1 or 2 spots there at the very end. That's a pretty good adjustment to make after a mistake.
It's a tough mental game. I mean, the Nürburgring was it was a tough track, and it was a tough track for everybody, as you could see in qualifying. A lot of people didn't even get a clean lap, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But yeah, bending it on the first lap, that was heartbreaking. And it's all right. I'll put my head down. And next week is going to be even better. Silverstone is an awesome track. VIR, everybody hates, but I seem to like it. And yeah, should be fun.
Should be fun indeed. And SGR Corvid now coming away with the win here at the Nürburgring. Should have a few points on you here going into week number 4. That's just me forecasting based on what I remember of the previous races. At this point in the season, do you kind of start setting your focus on just grabbing second, or are you still gunning for that top spot, knowing that Udacan has a chance to maybe lock it up here in week number 4?
Oh, I think everybody's gunning for the top position, whatever they can. Mm-hmm. And it is a little heartbreaking that Corvid beat him before I could, especially since week after week. No, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, no, it's been awesome racing Huracan, and definitely a huge congrats to Corvid. He did not put a foot out of line tonight, and that's almost nearly impossible on the Nürburgring. Race 1 was awesome with Huracan, and yeah, couldn't ask for anything better.
Good stuff. 2 podium finishes here, mentioning the second place win out there at Road Atlanta, and then follow that up with the third place finish out here at the Nordschleife. Carbon, great chat with you. We'll see how things pan out in week number 4.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Thanks for everything that you do.
You bet. It's my pleasure. I always have fun, and of course the action at the front has been stellar here throughout season number 33, and I suspect it will continue, especially with a lot of the drivers saying that Silverstone is such a fun track for them, or one of the better tracks, the ones that they are good at. So that combination of a lot of drivers saying yes, that's what I'm looking forward to, just means that we should have some great racing to kick off week number 4, and then we'll see what happens out there at VIR. I think it could get a little chaotic, as Hocus was telling us. He's going to be maybe mowing the grass a little bit for the VIR landscaper crew in race number 8. So we'll have those two coming up here next week, same time, same channel, right here on Virtual Autosports and Twitch TV. The Silverstone Circuit, 22 laps with a little bit of rain to start the thing. It'll turn over to drizzle about halfway through the race, and then at the end of the race, it should just be overcast skies. And then Virginia Raceway full, 14 laps around that track, which it's a great track. It is. It's just a very complex track and easy to make a mistake at that one. So we'll see how things go as they get ready to put the end cap on this thing with Week 5, 2 weeks from tonight, April 28th, Prague short, 69 laps there in the city. And because there is a pit lane there at Prague, I do believe they'll have the damage turned on. And with that being a city circuit, it'll be interesting to see how many folks have to make one or more stops as a result of contact. We'll see. We always hope that the racing is as clean as possible, but you just never, ever really know. All right, folks, as I mentioned, April 17th through the 23rd, that's starting this Friday. We're going to have 7 days of content for you here on the Virtual Autosports channel. It starts with Forza Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday, hence the name Forza Friday. We'll be running alongside the official Forza channel, doing the things that they're doing, and if we get enough of a grouping here of people that are from our side of the community and we want to put together our own event to conclude things there on Forza Friday, then we'll most certainly do that. Otherwise, we'll just continue on with what the official broadcast or the official Forza channel is doing. Then on Saturday, I'm riding solo behind the wheel of my Fanatic CSR. So if you guys want to see how I race, which I'm telling you is not anything special, then hang out with me on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll go for a couple of hours there with Assetto Corsa Competizione. What I'm doing is, because I've only got about 4 hours behind the wheel in that game, starting with Zolder in the career, I'm going to head out to Brands Hatch for my next race, get a little bit more familiarity with the physics system. Obviously, Brands Hatch is a track that I'm no stranger to with us having it here in Forza Motorsport 7, 6, and in other games that it's existed in. So it's not the track so much that I need to learn as it is just the handling system and my Fanatic CSR. And then eventually, at some point, maybe these ACC in the morning events will be multiplayer based, where I can race with some of you all in a dedicated server. We'll get some racing action going there. And then on Sunday, 3050 returns. It's a track day experience. You show up on Sunday, and I'm telling you, you don't need to prepare for anything on Sunday. I'm telling you, you don't. All you have to do is show up at 11 a.m. Eastern, and actually at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern is when I'll open a registration form. You'll find that over on my Twitter and over on our Discord channel. So here's the Discord that Nightbot is going to drop in, and then also follow me on Twitter. As soon as that registration form becomes available, click on it, fill it out, submit it. The order in which people register, you'll go onto a draft board. If you've never participated in 3050 before, here's the skinny of it. You show up on Sunday, you register. Depending on the order in which you register, I will call your name during the broadcast. It'll have a game show style board on screen, which has a bunch of blocks with numbers. You pick the number that you want. We'll turn that block over. Whatever car is behind that block, that's the vehicle that you have to race with for that day. You have 30 minutes after we've done the draft. You've had 30 minutes to tune, test, and qualify with your vehicle. Obviously, the qualifying sets you up for the grid order. The quicker times get placed toward the front of the grid, and then we'll do a 50-mile race. It's a pretty short race, 30 minutes of testing, tuning, and qualifying. The broadcast goes pretty dang quickly. Really, there's a lot of fun in the draft because we've got some little nuances there. If you pick some symbols, you can maybe pick your car yourself if you get the Stig symbol. If you get our Capicone symbol, however, you get the viewers to pick for you what your car is going to be. And over on Twitter, as a matter of fact, the Nightbot link that is in there, VRTL Autosports, that's the Twitter handle. Click that. There's a poll that's running right now selecting the division of cars that will be the roster for our 3050 event on Sunday. It's either going to be the Hot Hatch Genesis, which before this broadcast was winning the poll, or the Rise of the Supercar. If you guys want the Rise of the Supercar, you got to get over there and vote and surpass the Hot Hatch Genesis fans. So participate in that poll. Then by the end of the week, when the poll has concluded, you'll know which division is going to be run. You just won't know what car or the track. And then come Sunday, we'll have all that information for you, including the specifications for the vehicles. And no, balance of performance is not going to be the cleanest that you've seen in any event. But really, the fun of 3050 is what can you do with the car that you're given. It's assuming that maybe you're showing up to a track on race day and somebody has a car but they have no driver and they pick you. Well, maybe they've got a crappy car, but you know how to turn it into something that is going to be proper competitive. Maybe they give you a crappy car and there's really not much you can do with it, but your driving really makes up the difference and you can come away with a win. Who knows? That's really the beauty of 3050. Again, ask Crimson. He could tell you all the fun that is that event. We'll have that coming to you on Sunday, 3050 at 11 a.m. Eastern. Show up on time. That way, if you register, you're ready to go. We get through the draft, and then we hit the track. Then on Monday, a week from last night, Be a Better Forza Photographer. We'll go into the world of Forza Horizon 4. I will go ahead and do some of the Forza photography here live on the broadcast, share some of my tips and tricks. You guys can share your tips and tricks with me because I'm by no means a know-it-all when it comes to the world of Forza photography. I just know as much as I know, and then, of course, I depend on a lot of people with pointers to help me out. And then we'll be back here a week from tonight with Forza Spec Racing Series week number 4 of Season 33. Then Wildcard Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, will be a broadcast of a racing title that I won't tell you about until we get into that cast on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Show up for that one. That'll be a lot of fun. And then Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, we'll have Thursday Night Throwdown at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's April 23rd. I will have the information on that race posted up on Discord, on my Twitter, here over the weekend. If you'd like to participate with us, most certainly do. I'll be spectating that race while everybody else is broadcasting. We'll have some qualifying, a couple laps of qualifying, and then we'll have a 60-minute endurance event with a couple of required pit stops. Just adds an element of strategy in there, or it might just be one pit stop. I haven't set the restrictions yet. But as soon as I post it up, get your car ready and then show up for us on Thursday and see how well you perform against the rest of our viewers and community here. And then that'll be it for the 7-day streak. And then depending on how the next 7 days go, or how the 7 days go from April 17th to the 23rd, we'll either keep it up or maybe we'll scale back some of the days, or maybe we'll just revert back to all Tuesday broadcasts and that's it altogether. But for all the folks who have subscribed here in week number, or in season number 33, my idea for this really was to be able to provide content for those of you who have gone above and beyond to support me as the broadcaster here. And because of the weird world that we live in with COVID-19, want to be able to provide some content and some excitement in an otherwise uncertain time. Obviously, we're not trying to talk too much about that here in the broadcast. Really, we want to keep things cheery and upright, but hopefully for all of you at home, you are keeping safe, you're keeping healthy, and same for you and your loved ones. That's going to be it for me here, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. For all the viewers that we've had throughout the day, even if you haven't been able to watch all the way through, appreciate your viewership, and we will have the rerun going here shortly after the broadcast has concluded. If you get any more racing action in the virtual world, whether it be here in Forza Motorsport 7, Assetto Corsa, iRacing, wherever, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until next time, y'all take care. Have a great evening or a great Wednesday, depending on where you are in the world. We'll see you next time here on Virtual Auto Sports and Twitch TV. Peace.